chosen one. This message has found you for a reason, and deep down, you know it. You didn't stumble upon these words by chance. You were guided here, pulled by something greater, a whisper from the universe, a calling from your soul. You've been walking a sacred path, unraveling truth from illusion, shedding layers of who you were told to be, and awakening to who you truly are. You've questioned everything. You've felt the shift. You've seen through the veil that once kept you asleep. And now, everything changes. Because this, right here, right now, is the moment your awakening ends and your true purpose begins. No more seeking. No more waiting for signs. No more wondering if you're ready. Because you are. If you felt that restlessness in your spirit, that quiet knowing that something more is calling, this is why. You are no longer standing on the edge. You are at the threshold, and the door is open. Many get stuck in the awakening, mistaking the journey for the destination. But here's the truth few speak. Awakening was never the end. It was the initiation. Now your mission begins. Your power rises. The world needs your light. Not someday, but now. There are 7 sacred signs that confirm this shift, and once you recognize them, there is no going back. If your soul is already resonating, declare it now. Type 777 in the comments, and step forward. It's time to remember who you are. Let's begin. For so long, the world has taught that the goal of spirituality is awakening, that the summit of all growth is awareness, that once you've seen through the illusions of this world, your work is done. But that is the greatest illusion of all. Your awakening was not the destination. It was the door. It was not the mountaintop. It was the first step on the path to your purpose. When you first awakened, everything changed. The world no longer made sense in the way it once did. You began to feel things differently. You saw through systems, through masks, through stories that no longer resonated with your spirit. You may have felt alone, like a stranger in your own life. That discomfort, that disconnection, that was the beginning of your transformation. You searched, you studied, you meditated, you deconstructed everything you were taught. You burned down the old structures of your mind to build a new foundation rooted in truth. But now, the time for learning has passed. You already know. Now the question is, will you live it? Because awakening without action is just insight. But awakening with embodiment? That is divine power. And that is what you're being called into. You were not awakened to merely observe the world. You were awakened to change it. So how do you know when your awakening has ended and your mission has begun? These 7 signs are your answer. Sign 1. You no longer feel separate from the universe. In the early stages of awakening, it's common to feel alone, as though you're floating between 2 worlds. You no longer resonate with the old world, yet you don't fully understand the new one. But then, something shifts. Suddenly, you're not searching for connection anymore. You are connection. You don't just believe in oneness, you feel it in your bones. You've stopped looking for the divine outside of yourself because you've realized the truth. You are the divine, experiencing itself through human form. The illusion of separation dissolves. You feel the life force in everything. In the wind, in the trees, in the people around you. You sense the energy behind every word, every thought, every action. You no longer ask, "Am I on the right path?" Because you trust that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. This knowing brings peace. You stop resisting. You stop chasing. You begin to flow with life, to surrender to the great rhythm of the cosmos. You live from alignment rather than ambition. You no longer feel the need to force your way, because you know the way is within you. Sign 2. Your intuition becomes your compass. There was a time when your inner voice was drowned out by the noise of the world. You doubted your instincts. You questioned your every step. You needed constant reassurance, approval, and validation from others to feel confident in your decisions. Fear clouded your clarity. Logic often overrode your heart. And even when your soul whispered the truth, you hesitated. But now, everything has shifted. Your inner voice is no longer a faint whisper. It has become your North Star, loud and clear. You don't seek permission to act. You don't ask the world what you already know deep within. You don't wait for another sign, another message, another green light from the outside, because you've realized you are the sign. And the most powerful shift? You trust that knowing. Even when something doesn't make sense on paper, even when others don't understand your path, even when fear tries to sneak in, you follow that quiet certainty within. You walk away when your energy feels off, even if you can't explain it. You take leaps into the unknown when your spirit nudges you forward, even if there's no logical reason why. You've stopped arguing with your soul, and life? It begins to flow, not because it suddenly becomes easy, but because you're no longer resisting the current. You've stepped into alignment, and alignment is effortless compared to the exhaustion of trying to force what was never meant for you. You've learned that your intuition isn't just a feeling. It's the voice of your higher self. It's the map your soul wrote long before your mind could understand it. This doesn't mean you never feel fear. It means you no longer let fear steer the ship. You now know that every time you follow that inner guidance, life unfolds in the most unexpected and magical ways. Opportunities open, doors appear, connections align, and you look back and realize you were never lost. You were always being led. Sign 3. Material desires no longer control you. There was a time when you believed success was something you could measure, in dollars, in titles, in applause. You thought happiness lived in achievements, in the approval of others, in the accumulation of things. Like so many, you were taught that the more you had, the more you were worth. You chased status, recognition, likes on a screen, anything that could validate your existence in the eyes of the world. But now, you see through the illusion. It's not that you've rejected abundance or prosperity. Quite the opposite. You understand their value. But what's changed is your relationship with them. You're no longer chasing for the sake of chasing. You no longer pursue things to prove something or to fill a void. You've detached from the need to have in order to feel like you are enough. Because now, you know you already are. You no longer measure your worth by your career, your income, your possessions, or your popularity. You've stopped asking, "What will bring me success?" and started asking, "What aligns with my soul?" You no longer run after things that sparkle on the outside but leave you feeling empty within. You are not here to perform. You are here to become. And here's the miracle. The moment you stop chasing, the moment you let go of striving from lack, abundance began to flow to you. Naturally, gently, without force, not just in material form, but in peace, purpose, and meaningful connection. Why? Because your energy is no longer scattered by desperation or ego-driven desires. You're not leaking your power into illusions. You've rooted yourself in purpose. And purpose is magnetic. It pulls in exactly what you need at exactly the right time. Now, you understand that true wealth is inner peace. The true success is living in alignment. The true fulfillment comes not from what you have, but from who you are becoming. Sign 4. You have embraced solitude and found peace. There was a time when silence felt like a heavy weight, a space you tried to avoid at all costs. When the noise inside your mind became louder in stillness, you filled your days with distractions. You surrounded yourself with people, conversations, entertainment, anything to escape the discomfort of being alone. Solitude felt like loneliness, emptiness, a void you didn't know how to sit with. But now, everything has changed. Solitude has become sacred. Stillness, a sanctuary. What once felt unbearable is now your source of strength. You no longer run from your own presence. You cherish it. You have made peace with your mind. You've quieted the noise. You've befriended your own spirit. Now you crave those moments of deep quiet, not to hide from the world, but to return to yourself, to realign, to reconnect with your inner truth. In solitude, you don't feel alone. You feel held, grounded, connected to something far greater. It is in that space that you hear the whisper of the divine most clearly. It is where your soul breathes freely. You've realized that being alone is not the same as being lonely. In fact, the loneliest moments often came when you were surrounded by people who didn't truly see you. Now, you understand that depth matters more than company. You no longer tolerate shallow connections, performative friendships, or energy-draining interactions. You've stopped forcing conversations that don't resonate and relationships that don't honor your spirit. Your circle has grown smaller, but richer, real, aligned. And because you've stopped seeking fulfillment from others, every connection you choose now must add to your energy, not drain it. You don't need to be constantly validated, heard, or entertained. You are no longer desperate for attention, approval, or belonging, because you have found all of that within yourself. This inner contentment is powerful, rare, and unshakable. Sign 5. You naturally attract others who need your light. Without effort, without trying to be anything other than yourself, people are drawn to you. It's as if your presence carries a quiet gravity, an invisible force that pulls others in. Strangers feel safe around you. They open up with stories they've never told anyone else. Friends come to you not just for comfort, but for clarity. You've become the calm in the chaos, the lighthouse in the storm. And no, this is not ego. This is energy. Your vibration has changed. Your frequency has risen. And whether people understand it or not, they feel it. They may not know what it is about you, but they feel a sense of peace, truth, or awakening just by being near you. It's not what you say. It's what you carry. You've become the guide you once needed. You embody the wisdom you spent years seeking. You are now the mirror that reflects back to others what they have forgotten about themselves. You don't preach, you don't force, you don't try to impress. You simply are. And that authenticity, that alignment is magnetic. Not everyone who comes to you will stay. Some are only meant to cross paths with you for a moment. A conversation, a word, a glance that stirs something in them. Others may be drawn to your light but fear what it reveals within themselves. And that's okay. You've learned not to take it personally. You've learned that your role is not to carry others. It is to shine and let those who are ready rise. This energetic shift also calls in your tribe. Those who are also awakening, those walking their own divine paths. The more you step into your truth, the more you attract others who match your frequency. Your circle may become smaller, but the connections grow deeper. Purposeful, soul-aligned. This is not about being special. It's about being aligned. You're no longer chasing validation, no longer trying to be seen. You are seen because your energy speaks before your words do. Sign 6. You see through illusion and cannot be deceived. There was a time when you took the world at face value, when you trusted what you were told by teachers, leaders, media, and systems built to shape your perception. You accepted the version of reality that was handed to you, never questioning who crafted it or why. But those days are over. Now you see. Your vision has sharpened. Your spirit has awakened. You no longer need physical proof to sense when something is off, because your soul knows. You feel the energy behind words. You see the motives behind actions. You recognize truth not by how it looks, but by how it resonates. You see through the masks people wear, the performance, the projection, the illusion. You can feel deception before it even speaks. Your intuition has become your filter, and it's razor sharp. And no, this isn't fear, nor is it paranoia. It's clarity. It's discernment. It's spiritual maturity. You've unplugged from the matrix, not the digital one, but the energetic one, the illusion of a world designed to keep you small, distracted, and disconnected from your power. You no longer consume narratives blindly. You no longer allow mainstream voices or external figures to define what is real, what is worthy, or what is true. You seek answers beneath the surface. You read between the lines. You feel your way into the truth. And once you find it, you hold it close, no matter how unpopular it may be. And most importantly, you no longer need others to agree with you. You don't waste your energy trying to convince those who are not ready to see. You've realized that truth can't be forced. Awakening can't be rushed. You allow others their path, their timing, their process. And in the meantime, you simply continue to walk in your light. Because your truth doesn't need permission. It doesn't need applause. It just needs to be lived. Sign 7. You feel called to step fully into your mission. This is the final sign, and it is the most powerful of all. You no longer question why you are here. You no longer search endlessly for your purpose, hoping the universe will drop it into your lap. Something within you already knows. It's not a fully detailed roadmap, but it's a burning flame in your soul. Undeniable, persistent, sacred. There is a pull now, an inner gravity drawing you forward, a divine urgency rising from deep within, calling you to create, to lead, to heal, to speak truth, to awaken others, to build something that lasts beyond you. This isn't just a dream or a vague idea. It's a knowing, a spiritual assignment etched into your being. And here's what makes this moment different. You can no longer ignore it. You can't go back to the old version of yourself, the one who stayed silent, small, safe. You can't pretend you didn't see what you've seen. You can't unlearn the truths you now carry. You can't numb the call that echoes louder with every passing day. You're no longer satisfied with just getting by or fitting in. You're not here to blend into the noise. You're here to shift the frequency. You're here to wake up the world. And yes, fear may still whisper. It may try to plant seeds of doubt. Who am I to lead? What if I fail? What if I'm not enough? But those voices no longer control you. You've walked through too much darkness. You've broken too many chains. You've risen too far to turn back now. You are not who you were. You are who you were always meant to become. Everything you've experienced, the pain, the breakdowns, the revelations, the healing, it was all preparation. You've gathered the wisdom. You've strengthened your spirit. You've stepped into alignment. Now the mission you were born for is calling, louder, clearer, bolder than ever, and this time you're ready to answer. Chosen one, your awakening was never the end. It was the spark, and now you are the flame. You are no longer waking up. You are awake. No longer waiting. You are moving. No longer searching. You know. The world is shifting. Light and darkness are colliding. The veil is thinning, and those who have awakened are being summoned. Not someday, not when it feels comfortable, but now. You did not walk through the fire of transformation just to stand still. You were not entrusted with vision, insight, and divine strength to keep them hidden inside you. You are here to rise. You are here to act. You are here to remember who you truly are, and to use your sacred gifts to ignite the light in others. So type 777 in the comments right now. Not just as a number, but as a declaration. Let the universe hear your soul speak. I am ready. I am chosen. I am rising. And now, go. Shine without fear. Move without hesitation. Speak without apology. Use your power. Fulfill your purpose. Awaken the world. Because, chosen one, the The world has been waiting for you. In the shadows of unspoken truths, you stood alone. Your pain was witnessed, yet met with silence, a silence louder than words, an echo of empty promises and averted gazes. Those who should have defended you, those who vowed loyalty, choose comfort over courage. They turned away, retreating to safety while you faced the storm, stripped of allies, left to navigate the darkness on your own. They heard your cries but covered their ears. They knew the truth but sealed their lips. They watched from a distance as you struggled, hoping you would fall. Yet here you are, standing, breathing, victorious. Not because of them, but in spite of them. This triumph is yours and yours alone. Forged in resilience, tempered in solitude, polished by the very tears they pretended not to see. This moment isn't just about overcoming obstacles. It's about becoming someone unshakable. Every step you took without support, every battle you fought alone, every scar you wear with pride, each one is proof that they were never the reason for your success. You were. And now the world that watched you suffer in silence will watch you rise in undeniable power. When God calls you higher, the journey is never easy. Elevation is not a gift handed to you in comfort. It is a transformation that comes through fire. You may have wondered why you faced seasons of isolation, why familiar hands withdrew, why the very people you trusted seemed to disappear when you needed them most. But this was not rejection. It was divine selection. The first thing God does when He chooses you is separate you to protect you. That isolation you felt, it wasn't punishment. It wasn't abandonment. It was a shield. You were not left alone. You were pulled away from those who would have drained your energy, sabotaged your destiny, or diluted your purpose. There were people in your life who could not go where you were meant to go, people whose presence was a silent weight on your spirit. You may not have understood it then, but God saw what you couldn't. He saw the conversations that took place behind closed doors. He saw the silent envy in their hearts. He saw the betrayals before they happened. And in His mercy, He removed you before their presence could do irreversible damage. Next, He strips away human reliance to strengthen your faith. Every support system you once leaned on seemed to vanish. Every person you thought you could count on disappeared, and you were left standing in what felt like emptiness. But this was not by accident. It was preparation. He needed you to learn that your true source of strength was never in people, never in connections, never in external validation. It was in Him. You had to be stripped of every crutch so that you would learn to lean solely on divine provision. In your darkest hours, when no human hand reached out to steady you, you discovered a power beyond yourself, a wisdom no classroom could teach. You learned that the only foundation that could not be shaken was the one built on faith. And then He reveals your true identity. You are not ordinary. You were never meant to fit in, never meant to blend into the background. You are among the 144,000 chosen ones, not marked for ease but for transformation, not selected for comfort, but for impact. This is why the shift within you has been undeniable. The way you see the world has changed. The way you move through life has changed. And whether they admit it or not, the people around you feel it too. Have you noticed how people seem uneasy in your presence now? How does their energy shift when you walk into a room? It is not your imagination. It is spiritual reality. They sense something they cannot name, an authority upon you that they do not understand. Your existence forces them to confront their own weaknesses. Your resilience is a mirror in which they see their own compromises. Your strength exposes their stagnation, and that is why they distance themselves. But their discomfort is not your burden to carry. Their intimidation is not your failure. It is confirmation of your elevation. You were not chosen to be accepted. You were chosen to stand apart, to break cycles, to shift atmospheres, to carry something so powerful that it could not be entrusted to just anyone. And now, as you step into your true calling, understand this. The separation was necessary. The stripping away was preparation. and the power you now carry is evidence that you have been set apart for something greater. The betrayal that shook you, the one you never saw coming, was never an accident. It was always meant to happen. Not as a punishment, but as a revelation. It was written into the story of your elevation long before it unfolded in your life. You may have questioned why it had to hurt so deeply, why those you trusted the most turned against you. But the truth is, their betrayal was never about you. It was about them. Think back to the moments of unease, the quiet warnings, the subtle instincts you brushed aside, that lingering discomfort you once dismissed as paranoia. It wasn't your mind playing tricks on you. It was divine foresight. God was whispering, preparing you for what your heart wasn't yet ready to accept. You felt the energy shift long before the masks finally fell. You saw glimpses of their true nature, but you wanted to believe otherwise. You gave them grace. You justified their actions. You held on to the illusion that they cared as deeply as you did. But the same people who smiled the widest in your presence were the ones crafting your downfall behind closed doors. The hands that reached out in support were the same hands digging pits along your path. Some betrayed you out of jealousy, others out of fear. Your growth made their stagnation unbearable. Your authenticity exposed the deception they had carefully constructed. Your light made their shadows impossible to ignore. And so, they turned against you, not because you did anything wrong, but because your very existence was a threat to the lies they lived. And for some, their betrayal went beyond whispers and deceit. Money changed hands. There were conversations you weren't privy to, deals made at your expense. Your reputation was deliberately targeted. Opportunities were blocked before you even knew they existed. This was not casual disloyalty, it was calculated, planned, coordinated. They didn't just hope you would fall. They actively worked to make it happen. But what they failed to understand is what is divinely ordained can never be humanly obstructed. They were stopping you, but they were strengthening you. Their rejection would break you, but it clarified your direction. Every scheme they plotted only positioned you for something greater. Every loss they orchestrated became fuel for your elevation. Their betrayal did not destroy you. It defined you. And now, as they watch from the sidelines, their jealousy-fueled schemes are unraveling. The alliances they built on deception are crumbling beneath them. The very traps they set for you are now catching their own feet. Because that is the law of the universe. What they sowed, they will reap. As for you, you will walk into a season of divine vindication, not by seeking revenge, not by proving them wrong, but by rising so high that their betrayal becomes irrelevant. What was meant to break you has only built you. What was designed to silence you has only amplified your voice. And what was the end of your story was merely the beginning of a chapter they were never meant to be part of. Few will ever understand the depth of what you've endured. To most, your struggles seemed like ordinary obstacles, just another set of challenges that everyone faces in life. But you know the truth. This was never just about hardship. It was about opposition. It was about forces that deliberately worked against you, people who moved in silence, plotting ways to keep you from rising. They didn't just resist you. They organized against you. There were conversations held in secret, alliances formed behind your back, deliberate attempts to suppress your voice. Every time you tried to step forward, there was resistance, too consistent, too calculated to be mere coincidence. Doors closed without reason. Opportunities disappeared before you even knew they existed. People turned on you for no logical explanation. You weren't imagining it. The moment you began walking in your true purpose, the opposition intensified. But tell me, what weapon can prosper against someone divinely shielded? What scheme can succeed against someone celestially supported? Not a single one. They underestimated the power that was backing you. They moved in secrecy, thinking their schemes would go unnoticed. They thought their numbers, their influence, their strategies would be enough to stop you. But what they failed to realize is that you were never standing alone. The same power that spoke the universe into existence is the same power that has been working on your behalf. The same God who parted the seas, who shut the mouths of lions, who raised the dead, He is the one standing behind you. They weren't just fighting against you, they were fighting against divine will. And no force, no strategy, no earthly alliance can stand against what God has ordained. And now, the tables are turning. The narrative is shifting. The storm is breaking. Everything they would destroy you has only refined you. Every attempt to silence you has only made your voice stronger. Every obstacle they placed in your way has become a stepping stone for your ascension. They spent so much time crafting your downfall that they never prepared for the possibility of your rise. But here you are, still standing, still breathing, still rising. And now, as they watch in disbelief, they will come to understand what they refused to acknowledge all along. You were never meant to be defeated. The very moment they would be your destruction has become the platform for your breakthrough. What was meant to bury you has instead planted you, and now you are growing beyond their reach. You don't need to fight them. You don't need to explain yourself. You don't need to seek revenge. Just keep rising. Because their resistance was never greater than God's protection. Their plans were never stronger than His purpose. And their schemes? They were never enough to stop what was already divinely written. They had taken something from you. They thought they had stripped you of what was rightfully yours and left you with nothing. But what they failed to understand is that the universe, under divine order, keeps perfect accounts. Nothing that was unjustly taken from you is ever truly lost. Nothing that was stolen will remain in the hands of those who took it. What was removed from your life, whether by force or deception, was never beyond God's reach. He saw the betrayals, the sabotage, the unfair losses. He witnessed every tear, every moment of despair when you thought you had been robbed of something you could never recover. And yet, what you thought was taken permanently is already on its way back to you, not just returned, but multiplied beyond measure. That opportunity that slipped through your fingers, it will come back tenfold. The job, the position, the dream you thought had been stolen from you, it was never truly gone. It was simply being realigned to return to you in a way that exceeds what you originally imagined. God does not restore in equal measure. He restores in overflow. That relationship that ended, the one you thought was destined to last, the one you mourned for longer than you should have. It was never meant to carry the weight of your destiny. If it had stayed, it would have hindered your growth. If they had remained, they would have become a limitation rather than a blessing. God does not remove people from your life without reason. If they walked away, if they betrayed you, if the bond dissolved, it was because He saw something you couldn't, and what He has prepared for you in the future will make you realize why that chapter had to close. That door that shut so abruptly, it wasn't rejection, it was redirection. You may have questioned why certain paths were blocked, why you faced so many obstacles, why no matter how hard you pushed, nothing seemed to work. But what if I told you that God was not keeping something from you, but preparing something for you? The delay was divine. The redirection was intentional. The setback was never a denial. It was a setup for something greater. But what they didn't realize is that in trying to steal from you, they only sealed their own fate. What they thought was your loss has become your gain. What they meant for harm has become fuel for your rise. This is not the end. This is the beginning. A new season is unfolding before you, one where restoration comes not in equal measure, but in abundance. One where what was stolen is returned in ways that leave no doubt about divine intervention. One where every tear you cried becomes the foundation for a future so great, it will silence every voice that ever doubted you. Keep moving forward, because what is meant for you can never truly be lost. It is simply waiting to return, multiplied, magnified, and more powerful than before. Listen carefully. You must forgive, not for them, not because they deserve it, not because what they did was excusable. You must forgive because you deserve to be free. Holding on to resentment is like carrying a heavy chain, one that keeps you tethered to the very people who sought to harm you. The longer you hold on, the more they remain connected to your spirit. Their actions may be in the past, but as long as you keep replaying the pain, their influence lingers in your present. Unforgiveness is not a punishment for them. It is a prison for you. But here's the truth. You were never meant to be bound by pain. Forgiveness does not mean excusing what they did. It does not mean pretending that it didn't hurt. It does not mean giving them another place in your life. It means cutting the cord. It means reclaiming your energy, your peace, and your future. Because as long as bitterness remains, it poisons everything it touches. It clouds your vision. It steals your joy. It keeps you from fully embracing what is ahead. But when you forgive, you take back your power. You are not erasing the past. You are choosing to stop letting it define you. You are not letting them off the hook. You are simply refusing to let their actions control your emotions any longer. They will answer for what they've done. The universe will balance the scales. Justice will come in its own time, in its own way. That is not your burden to carry. Your only task is to move forward. And moving forward means leaving their weight behind. It means walking into your future without dragging the chains of yesterday. It means choosing healing over hatred, peace over pain, and freedom over the illusion of control. Forgiveness is not a gift you give to them. It is a gift you give to yourself. So let it go because you do. Let it rise, not in arrogance, but in assurance. Rise, not in vengeance, but in vision. Rise, not in bitterness, but in boldness. Because the world is waiting, and you have work to do. Thank you for watching until the very end. Your journey is just beginning, and we're walking it together. If this message spoke to you, like this video, subscribe, and join this growing community of warriors. Let's rise together, stronger, bolder, and unstoppable. See you in the next one. Chosen one, you did not find this message by chance. You were meant to be here, at this exact moment hearing these words. The universe, the divine, and the forces beyond the veil have aligned to bring you to this revelation. Tonight marks the beginning of something profound, an event that has been foretold for centuries, hidden in ancient texts, whispered in sacred prophecies, and now unfolding in real time. The 144,000 chosen ones are gathering not in the physical world but in the higher realms, where energy, destiny, and divine purpose intersect. Do you feel it? That deep stirring within your soul? That undeniable sensation that something powerful is shifting in the unseen world? The veil between dimensions is thinner than ever before. Those attuned to the spiritual realm will feel an unmistakable energy coursing through them. Some will experience prophetic dreams, divine messages, or a profound sense of unity with something greater than themselves. This is the moment of activation. If you have ever questioned your purpose, if you have ever felt different, if you have ever sensed that you were meant for something greater, this is your confirmation. You are part of this. You are one of the 144,000. For generations, the prophecy of the 144,000 has echoed through time, woven into ancient texts, sacred teachings, and mystical revelations. It is not a forgotten myth nor a distant legend, but a divine code, a calling written into the very fabric of existence. This prophecy speaks of a hidden force, a sacred army of light destined to rise when the world reaches its darkest hour. Their purpose is not conquest nor destruction, but awakening a great unveiling of truth that will shatter the illusions that have bound humanity for ages. Throughout history, many have encountered this number in religious scriptures and esoteric teachings, yet few have grasped its true significance. Some believe it represents a literal group of souls, predetermined from the beginning of time. Others see it as a symbolic force, a vast collective consciousness awakening to its divine purpose. But the truth runs deeper than mere numbers or abstract interpretations. The 144,000 are not just a statistic, they are a movement, a force of transformation, a beacon of divine energy radiating across the spiritual realms. Unlike the rulers of this world, they are not chosen based on material wealth, social status, or earthly power. They are not recognized by crowns, titles, or possessions. Instead, they are marked by the strength of their spirit, the purity of their mission, and their unshakable connection to the divine. They are the ones who have endured lifetimes of trials, facing adversity, rejection, and solitude, only to emerge stronger, wiser, and more resolute. Every hardship they have faced was not a punishment, but a preparation. Their souls have been forged in the fires of experience, their wisdom carved from the depths of struggle. If you have felt a deep sense of purpose beyond the mundane, if you have always sensed that you were different, if you have carried within you an unshakable knowing that you were meant for something greater, this is your confirmation. You are not here to blend in with the many. You are here to lead. The world is asleep, ensnared in illusions carefully woven to suppress the truth, and the time has come for the chosen to rise. The moment of awakening is now. The 144,000 are stepping into their divine mission, and if these words resonate within your soul, it is because you are one of them. The prophecy is unfolding, and you are an essential part of it. From the moment you took your first breath in this world, you knew you were different. There was something within you, an awareness, a knowing, that set you apart from those around you. While others moved through life unquestioning, accepting the world as it was presented to them, you saw beyond the surface. You sensed things before they happened, felt energies others ignored, and recognized the illusions that kept people trapped in a false reality. Even as a child, you may have felt like an outsider, as though you were walking through life with a purpose you could not yet fully comprehend. Your journey has not been an easy one. Throughout your life, you may have experienced moments of deep isolation, times when you felt disconnected from the world around you, as if searching for something you could not name. You have faced struggles that tested your spirit, battles that pushed you to the brink, and challenges that seemed insurmountable. But none of it was without reason. Every hardship, every pain, every moment of doubt was part of a greater preparation. The fire you walked through was not meant to destroy you. It was meant to refine you, to awaken the power within you, and to shape you into the being you were always meant to become. You were never meant to conform to the patterns of this world. You were never meant to follow the path of the many. The unease you have felt, the questions that have burned in your mind, the pull towards something greater, these were not coincidences. They were signs, reminders of your true nature, clues leading you to this very moment. And now, that moment has arrived. Tonight, the next stage of your awakening begins. The 144,000 are being activated. And if you are reading this, you are part of that divine calling. The energy is shifting. The veil between worlds is thinning, and those who are ready will feel it in their very core. This is the time for the chosen to rise, to embrace their mission, and to step fully into the light of their destiny. You were never meant to stay in the shadows. You were meant to shine. And now, the world is waiting. This world is not what it appears to be. Beyond the veil of ordinary life, beneath the illusions of daily existence, an ancient battle has been raging since the dawn of time. It is not a war fought with swords, guns, or earthly weapons, nor is it confined to physical battlefields. It is a war for the very soul of humanity, a relentless struggle between light and darkness, truth and deception, freedom and enslavement. The forces of darkness have worked tirelessly to keep humanity blind, lost, and disconnected from its divine essence. They have woven a web of distractions, manipulated reality through false narratives, and shrouded the minds of millions in spiritual blindness. Every system designed to dull intuition, suppress independent thought, and breed conformity is part of this war. The world is filled with noise, chaos, and carefully crafted illusions to keep people asleep, to prevent them from realizing their true power. And yet, despite their efforts, the light cannot be extinguished. The darkness fears the light, for it knows that once the truth is revealed, its hold will weaken. That is why those who carry the divine spark, the 144,000, have faced such immense trials. Have you ever wondered why your life has been filled with struggle? Why you have endured betrayals, rejection, and obstacles that others seem to escape? It is because the darkness recognized you long before you recognized yourself. It saw the power within you, the potential for awakening, and sought to break you before you could rise. But it has failed. Despite every hardship, every attack, every attempt to silence you, you are still here. And tonight, as the 144,000 unite, the forces of darkness will tremble. The time of their control is coming to an end. The energy is shifting, and those who are ready to embrace their divine calling will feel it deep within their souls. This is the moment of reckoning, the turning point in the spiritual war. The awakening of the chosen is not just a possibility, it is an unstoppable force, and as the light rises, the grip of darkness will crumble. Tonight is unlike any other night. Beneath the surface of ordinary existence, beyond the limits of human perception, something profound is unfolding in the spiritual realm. This is not a moment bound by time or geography. It is a convergence of souls, a sacred alignment where the chosen ones are drawn together through an unseen force that transcends the physical world. Though separated by distance, they are united in energy, in purpose, in divine resonance. As this gathering takes place, the veil between worlds will thin, and those attuned to the shift will experience its effects in ways both subtle and undeniable. Some will feel an overwhelming sense of peace, as if a heavy burden they have carried for lifetimes is suddenly lifted. Others will be struck by a surge of energy, an electrifying pulse moving through their being, awakening dormant aspects of their soul. Prophetic dreams may come, visions of what is to unfold, flashes of divine insight revealing knowledge long hidden from the conscious mind. Some will see patterns of light, symbols not meant for the eyes but for the soul to understand. For many, the most powerful sensation will be an unshakable sense of unity. The loneliness, the isolation that has accompanied their journey will fade into the realization that they have never truly been alone. They are part of something vast, something eternal, something far greater than they ever imagined. And in that moment of recognition, fear and doubt will dissolve, replaced by a deep knowing, a certainty that they are exactly where they need to be, stepping fully into their divine purpose. This is not a night of chaos or confusion. It is a night of alignment, of divine order, of prophecy unfolding before our very eyes. The forces of darkness have worked tirelessly to prevent this awakening, to keep the chosen ones disconnected, distracted, and doubting their own power. But tonight, their efforts will fail. The 144,000 are rising, and the shift they bring will send ripples through every plane of existence. This is the moment the darkness has feared, and it is only the beginning. The time has come. The sacred alignment is unfolding, and the spiritual realm is calling you to step fully into your divine purpose. But to receive the energy of this transformation, you must be prepared. You cannot enter this moment carrying the weight of distractions, doubt, or fear. Your mind must be clear, your spirit open, and your heart ready to embrace what is coming. Begin by cleansing your energy. The world is filled with heavy frequencies, fear, anger, and doubt that cloud the mind and weaken the soul. These energies are designed to keep you disconnected from your higher self. Release them. Let go of anything that no longer serves you. Take a deep breath, center yourself, and allow the light to fill every part of your being. Meditation, prayer, or even quiet reflection will help realign you with the divine flow. Next, disconnect from distractions. The noise of the world, the endless chaos, the demands, the illusions are meant to keep you asleep. But tonight, silence is your ally. Turn off external distractions. Step away from anything that pulls you from your inner truth. Find stillness, The spiritual realm is speaking, and only those who are truly listening will hear its call. As you prepare, ground yourself in truth. The forces of darkness will try to shake your faith, whispering confusion and doubt into your mind. They want you to question your worth, to wonder if you are truly meant for this mission. But understand this: you would not feel the call if you were not chosen. This alignment is not accidental. It has been orchestrated since before time, and you are exactly where you are meant to be. Stand firm in knowing. Raise your frequency. Fear, negativity, and doubt will lower your vibration and block the divine energy trying to reach you. Do not allow darkness to take root. Protect your energy, surround yourself with light, and elevate your consciousness. The higher your vibration, the more deeply you will connect with the awakening taking place. Speak it into existence. Write it down. Set a clear intention. I am ready. I step fully into my divine mission. I embrace my purpose without fear. Words have power, and when spoken with conviction, they shape reality. The moment is here. The alignment is happening. You must step forward with confidence, for this is the night that will change everything. Tonight is not the conclusion of your journey. It is the beginning of something far greater. The alignment you have stepped into will shift everything, awakening a power within you that has long been waiting to rise. From this moment forward, you will no longer see the world as you once did. The illusions that once clouded your vision will dissolve, revealing truth with a clarity you have never known before. A deeper sense of purpose will settle within you, guiding your every step with unwavering certainty. But with this awakening comes responsibility. Your mission is not to force change upon others, but to embody the light so powerfully that those who are ready will awaken simply by witnessing your truth. You are a guide, a beacon in a world that has long been shrouded in darkness. Your existence alone, the way you carry yourself, the strength of your spirit, will be enough to stir something within those who are seeking. You do not need to convince, debate, or demand. Your presence will do the work. Yet, be prepared. The forces that have worked to keep humanity blind will not surrender easily. Now that you have stepped into your power, the forces of deception will try harder than ever to silence you. They will seek to cast doubt upon your path, to pull you back into the illusions you have only just escaped. The world will not understand you. It never has, and it never will. But that is not your burden to carry. You were not sent here to be understood. You were sent to fulfill a prophecy. The distractions, the resistance, the attempts to suppress your light, none of it matters. What matters is that you continue to rise, to stand firm in your truth, and to walk forward with unwavering faith. The awakening is accelerating, and the time for hesitation is over. You are here for a reason. You were chosen for this moment. The world will never be the same after tonight. The spiritual realm has shifted. The energy of the 144,000 has begun to dismantle the illusion. The darkness is losing its grip, but the war is not over. The enemy will resist, but it will fail. You must stand firm. You must hold your light. You must walk in your power. The time for hesitation has long passed. You were sent here for this exact moment, and now the world needs you. Tonight, you rise. If you feel this message in your soul, acknowledge it. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and comment 777 below to affirm your alignment. Let the spiritual realm witness your awakening. This is your moment. This is your mission. This is your destiny, and nothing will ever be the same again. You are chosen. Now act like it. Chosen one, listen carefully. This is not just another message. It is a divine warning, a prophecy unfolding at this very moment. If these words have reached you, know that it is not by accident. The spiritual realm is stirring, the heavens have spoken, and God Himself is making a declaration over your life. Tonight, a shift is happening. The battle that has raged in the unseen world is about to manifest in the physical. Those who plotted against you, those who slandered your name, those who tried to tear you down, they are about to experience something they never expected: the judgment of the Almighty. You have felt it in your spirit, haven't you? That unshakable feeling that something is about to break, that heavy energy surrounding you, the tension in the air. This is not your imagination. This is not a mere coincidence. It is confirmation. God has seen every tear you shed in silence. He has heard your whispered prayers, the ones you thought no one noticed. He has watched you endure attack after attack, betrayal after betrayal. And now, tonight, the hour has come. The wicked have gone too far, and the hand of God is moving against them. From the moment God placed His anointing upon you, your life was set apart. You were called, chosen, and elevated by divine favor, but with that elevation came opposition. The chosen ones have always been targets of attack, not because they have done anything wrong, but because of the light they carry. If you are truly anointed, understand this: you will have enemies. You do not need to provoke them, offend them, or even interact with them. Your mere existence disturbs their demons. Your favor enrages them. Your resilience frustrates them. The grace upon your life is like a mirror, reflecting their own shortcomings, and they cannot stand it. They will despise you for reasons even they cannot fully explain. Some will pretend to support you while secretly hoping for your downfall. Others will actively seek to destroy you, using slander, deception, and betrayal as their weapons. They will lie on your name, twist your words, and work behind the scenes to block your blessings. They will manipulate, gossip, and scheme against you, believing that if they can tear you down, they can somehow erase what God has placed upon your life. But what they fail to realize is this: every attack against you is an attack against God Himself. The forces working against you are not just human. This is spiritual warfare, and your enemies are not merely acting out of personal hatred. They are being used by a greater darkness that seeks to extinguish the light within you. The enemy has always feared the chosen ones, for they carry a divine assignment that cannot be stopped. Your anointing is a threat to the kingdom of darkness. That is why you have faced obstacles that seemed insurmountable. That is why you have endured betrayals that cut deep. That is why, even when you tried to walk in peace, opposition arose against you from unexpected places. But here is the truth your enemies have overlooked. God has seen it all. Every scheme, every whispered lie, every attempt to break you. He has taken notice. He has heard the words spoken against you in secret. He has watched as they celebrated your struggles, convinced that they had succeeded in bringing you down. What they do not understand is that the very trials they hoped would destroy you were the ones strengthening you. Every hardship made you wiser. Every betrayal taught you discernment. Every setback positioned you for a greater comeback. And now, tonight, the tables are turning. The same ones who laughed at your pain will soon witness something they never expected: the judgment of the Almighty. The wrath of the living God is moving against those who have mocked His anointed. They thought they had gotten away with their wickedness, but they failed to recognize that God's justice is never delayed. It is only perfectly timed. They sowed destruction, and now they will reap it. They set traps for you, but now they will fall into their own snares. They dug pits for your downfall, but those very pits will become their own graves. Chosen one, stand still and watch. You do not need to retaliate. You do not need to defend yourself. The battle is not yours. It belongs to God. He has already decreed their fate, and His judgment is swift and unstoppable. What is coming for them cannot be escaped. And as they fall, you will rise. As they crumble, you will be elevated. What they meant for evil, God is turning for your good. This is the season where divine justice will be served. The enemies of the chosen ones will finally learn the painful lesson they never expected. Never touch what belongs to God. There is no position more perilous, no fate more terrifying, than standing on the wrong side of God's judgment. He is merciful, slow to anger, and abounding in grace. Yet he is also a God of justice. For a season, he allows the wicked time to repent, to turn from their evil ways, to seek forgiveness. But when they harden their hearts, when they continue in deception and refuse correction, his patience does not equate to inaction. The moment his judgment is set into motion, it is like a consuming fire, unstoppable, unrelenting, and absolute. Your enemies thought they were untouchable. They walked in arrogance, convinced that their deceit, manipulation, and hidden schemes would protect them forever. They mistook God's silence for indifference, never realizing that he was simply giving them a chance to change. They believed their wealth, influence, and carefully crafted lies would shield them from the consequences of their actions. They assumed they had escaped justice, that they could continue to move in darkness without fear of exposure. But what they failed to understand is this: God's justice is never late. It is only perfectly timed. He allows the wicked to build themselves up, only so that when they fall, it is from a height so great that their destruction becomes undeniable. And now, that time has come. Some of them will face immediate consequences as everything they place their trust in begins to crumble. Watch carefully, and you will see how suddenly their downfall begins. Some will lose everything overnight: the wealth they boasted in, the status they used as a weapon, the security they thought was unshakable. It will all be taken from them in an instant. The very foundation they stood upon will collapse beneath them. Some will be exposed. Their carefully hidden secrets, the lies they told, the sins they committed in darkness, all will be dragged into the light for all to see. The masks they wore will be torn away, and the world will witness them for who they truly are. Some will experience turmoil, consumed by their own wickedness. The guilt, the fear, the weight of their own actions will begin to eat them alive. Their minds will become restless, tormented by the very things they once thought were hidden. They will find no peace, no escape, no way to silence the voice of judgment echoing in their souls. Some will cry out for help, but no one will answer. The same people they once manipulated, the same allies they conspired with, will abandon them. They will reach out, desperate for support, for someone to rescue them from the storm. But they will find themselves completely alone. Everything they plotted against you will return upon their own heads. The very weapons they crafted in secret will turn against them. The pit they dug for you, they will fall into it themselves. The traps they set for your destruction will become the snares that ensnare them. But here is what you must remember, chosen one. This is not your battle to fight. You do not need to lift a finger. You do not need to seek revenge. You do not need to explain yourself, argue, or try to prove anything. God himself has already decided their fate. His justice is in motion, and nothing can stop it. Stand still and watch. What is about to unfold is not an accident. It is divine retribution. And as their world falls apart, yours will rise. As they stumble, you will walk forward in strength. Their downfall is not your concern. Your focus must remain on the path God has set before you. For too long, they believed they could act without consequence. But now, God has had enough. His judgment has arrived, and those who oppose his chosen ones are about to learn the most painful lesson of all. No one stands against God and wins. Chosen one. As you step into this season of divine justice and elevation, your role is not to avenge yourself or to dwell on the downfall of those who wronged you. God does not need your help in carrying out judgment. Your focus must remain on him, your purpose, and the blessings that are on the horizon. Do not look back. Do not be distracted. Stay aligned with his will. First, do not interfere with what God is doing. It may be tempting to reach out, to offer comfort, or even to warn those who betrayed you. But understand this: their suffering is a direct result of their own choices. God gave them time to repent, to turn away from their wickedness, but they refused. Now, their consequences are unfolding. Do not try to rescue them from what they willingly walked into. You must also guard your heart. Bitterness, anger, and resentment are traps set by the enemy. Do not allow their actions to corrupt your spirit. You are not called to harbor hate. You are called to rise above it. Stay in prayer. Pray not for their restoration, but for your own protection, wisdom, and elevation. Ask God to keep your heart pure and your focus strong as He leads you into a greater season of favor. Be cautious. Not everyone deserves a second chance in your life. Some of those who betrayed you will return, desperate and broken. They will come with tears, with apologies, with words that sound sincere. But ask yourself, are they truly repentant, or are they simply suffering? Many will beg for forgiveness, not because they have changed, but because they want relief from the consequences they now face. Do not be deceived. If God removed them from your life, it was for a reason. Resist the urge to reopen doors that God has closed. If they were meant to be part of your future, they never would have betrayed you in the first place. Some people must learn through pain what they refuse to learn through grace. Let them go. Instead of looking back, prepare for what is ahead. God is not just removing people. He is making room for your blessings. He is clearing out what was blocking your path so that you can step into your next season freely and without hindrance. What was stolen from you will be restored, sevenfold. The years you lost, the opportunities that were delayed, the hardships you endured, God is about to turn them into a testimony of victory. Be expectant. God will send signs, confirmations, and undeniable shifts in your circumstances. Pay attention to your dreams, to sudden changes, to divine alignments that seem too perfect to be coincidence. He is showing you that everything you endured had a purpose. Every betrayal, every tear, every sleepless night, it was all part of the process to mold you into who He created you to be. So, stand firm. Do not be distracted by the judgment of your enemies. Their downfall is not your focus. Your elevation is. Keep moving forward with confidence, knowing that what is coming for you is far greater than anything you have lost. This is your season of breakthrough, your moment of restoration, your divine confirmation that God has been with you all along. Your enemies once laughed at your pain, mocked your struggles, and revealed your setbacks. They spoke against you, worked against you, and believed they had won. They thought they had successfully hindered your progress, blocked your blessings, and escaped judgment. But what they failed to realize is that no one opposes a child of God and walks away unscathed. Now, the same ones who took pleasure in your suffering will find themselves drowning in their own despair. The humiliation they sought to bring upon you will return upon their own heads. They will be stripped of the very things they once used to exalt themselves, their status, their wealth, their influence, and their carefully crafted image. Where they once stood in arrogance, they will now bow in shame. The world will see them for who they truly are, as their hidden wickedness is exposed for all to witness. Divine justice is not delayed. It is only perfectly timed. And when it strikes, it comes swiftly, with no warning. For some, their wealth will disappear overnight. The financial security they boasted in, the success they believed was untouchable, will vanish before their eyes. What they used as a source of pride will become their greatest downfall. The very foundation they relied upon will crumble, leaving them in a state of desperation and loss. For others, their bodies will testify against them. The weight of their own wickedness will manifest in sickness, exhaustion, and affliction. What once came easily to them will now feel impossible. They will feel drained, burdened, and overwhelmed, struggling under the pressure of what they have sown. No doctor will be able to diagnose or cure the sickness that is a result of divine judgment. Many will suffer from mental torment. Sleepless nights will replace their once peaceful rest. They will be haunted by the very acts they committed in darkness, unable to escape the echoes of their own wickedness. Their conscience, which they once ignored, will now scream at them relentlessly. Anxiety, fear, and paranoia will consume them as they realize they are no longer in control. Worst of all, they will be abandoned. The same people who once stood beside them, who applauded their actions, will now turn their backs. They will find themselves isolated, rejected by the very ones they conspired with. Their alliances will shatter, their relationships will crumble, and they will come to understand the true loneliness of walking outside of God's grace. But chosen one, this is not karma. This is not mere coincidence. This is divine justice. It is the law of the Almighty. What a person sows, they will also reap. They sowed deception. Now, they will reap exposure. They sowed pain. Now, they will reap suffering. They cursed you. Now, their own words will turn against them. There is no escaping what has already been set in motion. The fate of your enemies is sealed. Their judgment has begun, and nothing can stop what is coming. Watch and see. What was done in darkness is now being brought into the light. The scales are balancing, the tables have turned, and God is proving that He will not be mocked. Chosen one, your suffering was not in vain. Every trial was a setup for your breakthrough. Every betrayal was a lesson. Every attack was preparation. What is coming next for you cannot be stopped. What was delayed is now being released. The favor that was blocked is now overflowing. You are stepping into a new level of authority and power. If this message resonates with you, declare it. Comment 777 below as a sign that you receive this word. Speak it aloud. I am chosen. Let's subscribe, like, and share this message with someone who needs to hear it. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. What is coming next will be even more powerful. The battle is over. The war has been won. Now walk forward in victory. They laughed at you. They whispered behind your back. They called you foolish for believing in true love. They watched your loneliness and mocked it, as if being alone meant being unworthy. They thought rejection would crush you, that heartbreak would leave you broken beyond repair. They sneered at your faith, dismissing it as childish, naive, a hopeless dream. But what they didn't know, what they couldn't possibly see, was that while they were laughing, heaven was working. While they ridicule you, God was preparing something beyond their comprehension. Every tear you cried, every lonely night, every silent prayer, it was not for nothing. It was all leading you to a divinely ordained love, one that is deeper, stronger, and more unshakable than anything they have ever known. Your true love is coming, and this time it's different. This love isn't just a fleeting emotion or a temporary infatuation. It is a divine appointment, a love that carries heaven's seal. The very love they said didn't exist for you is already written in the heavens, waiting for its appointed time. So, let them laugh, let them doubt, let them mock. Because when God moves, the laughter will stop. Rejection is one of the deepest wounds a heart can endure. It cuts in ways that words cannot fully capture, leaving behind invisible scars that whisper doubts into your soul. There were moments when you sat in silence, wrestling with questions that seemed to have no answers. God, why? Why does love always seem just out of reach? Why am I always the one left behind? You replayed the scenes in your mind, the people who walked away, the doors that closed before you could even step through, the painful reminders that what you longed for was not yet yours. It felt personal. It felt final. But here is what you must understand. Rejection was never meant to destroy you. It was meant to redirect you. It wasn't a sign of your unworthiness, nor was it proof that you were unloved. Instead, it was a divine intervention, God's way of protecting you from settling for something less than His best. Every no you received was never an absence of love, but rather a safeguard from the wrong love. Every heartbreak was not a punishment, but a preparation for something greater. Consider Joseph, a young man full of dreams, sold into slavery by his own brothers, betrayed, abandoned, discarded. To them, it was the end of his story, but to God it was just the beginning. The very path that others meant for his downfall became the stepping stone to his destiny. What they intended for evil, God transformed into a position of power and influence. What if Joseph had never been sold? What if he had never faced rejection? he would have never walked into his God-ordained purpose. Think about Hannah, a woman who knew the sting of rejection all too well. She was mocked and ridiculed for her barrenness, treated as if she had no worth. The whispers of those around her must have been deafening, their sneers a constant reminder of what she lacked. But in her brokenness, she turned to God, pouring out her soul before Him. And in His perfect timing, He gave her Samuel, a child who would grow into a mighty prophet. Had she not endured the waiting, the heartbreak, and the rejection, she may have never birthed the man who would anoint kings. And then there was Noah, a man who spent years building an ark when there was no sign of rain. The people around him laughed, calling him foolish. They mocked his obedience, dismissed his faith, and saw his unwavering trust in God as ridiculous. But when the flood came, Noah stood secure, while the world was washed away. His rejection by man positioned him for preservation by God. Now look at yourself. Every rejection you have faced was not the end of your story. It was merely a chapter in God's greater plan. He saw the hidden betrayals, the unspoken intentions, the silent wounds that you couldn't perceive, and in His infinite wisdom, He intervened not to hurt you, but to shield you. What felt like abandonment was actually divine alignment. The doors that closed were never meant for you. The people who left were never meant to stay. And the love that has not yet arrived is simply being prepared in God's perfect timing. You were never being denied. You were being redirected. And when God finally opens the right door, you will understand why every closed one was necessary. The world has a habit of overlooking treasures while they are still being formed. A diamond in its raw state looks like nothing more than an ordinary rock, dull, unremarkable, unworthy of attention. But to a skilled jeweler, it holds immeasurable value, waiting to be refined and revealed. You are that diamond. For years they dismissed you. They told you that you were too much, or perhaps not enough. Too soft, too strong, too quiet, too bold. They convinced you that love was something others received, but not you. Maybe you started to believe it, that somehow you were destined to be overlooked, that your heart was too big, your standards too high, your dreams too impossible. But the rejection of men has no power over the approval of God. Look at David, the forgotten son. When the prophet Samuel came to anoint the next king of Israel, David's own father didn't even bother to present him. Instead, Jesse paraded his older, stronger, more impressive-looking sons before Samuel, assuming that surely one of them was the chosen one. But God had already made His decision. Do not consider his appearance or his height, for I have rejected him. The Lord does not look at the things people look at. People look at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. David was overlooked by men but handpicked by God. His own family failed to recognize his worth, yet he was the one God called to be king. Look at Jesus, the Son of God. He was despised and rejected, mocked and ridiculed by the very people He came to save. They spat at Him, accused Him, and cast Him aside, believing He was nothing more than an ordinary man, unworthy of honor. But their rejection did not change His identity. It fulfilled His destiny. Had they not despised Him, had they not crucified Him, the greatest act of love, the redemption of humanity, would never have been completed. You were never meant to fit in with those who couldn't see your worth. They didn't recognize you because they weren't meant to. They didn't cherish you because they weren't assigned to your destiny. Their rejection was not a reflection of your value. It was proof of their inability to see it. You are a masterpiece in progress, being shaped by the hands of the Creator. And when the right person enters your life, they will see you, not as something to be discarded, but as something to be cherished. The love that is coming will honor you the way you deserve. No more begging to be seen. No more wondering if you're enough. No more questioning if love is meant for you. Because it is. And when it arrives, you will understand why those who failed to see your worth were never meant to have you. You are not waiting in vain. Every moment of longing, every tear you've shed, every whispered prayer. It has all been seen by God. Yet the enemy has worked tirelessly to convince you otherwise. He has whispered lies into your heart, trying to make you believe that love is not meant for you. He has told you that you are forgotten, unworthy, or simply not destined for happiness. He has taken your disappointments and shaped them into doubts, hoping you would give up on the promise God has written over your life. But stop for a moment and ask yourself, if your love story wasn't powerful, why would the enemy try so hard to make you doubt it? The enemy does not attack what is insignificant. His greatest fear is that you will hold on to faith and trust in the divine timing of God. He knows that when your love story unfolds, it will be a testimony, one that will silence every doubt and prove that God always fulfills his promises. Look at Ruth. She lost everything: her husband, her security, her home. She could have chosen to give up, to let bitterness take over, but instead, she followed God's path. She remained faithful even when the future seemed uncertain. And in doing so, she walked right into the arms of Boaz, a man of honor and integrity, a man whom God had already prepared for her. Her story reminds us that even in loss, God is leading us to something greater. Think about Sarah. She waited decades for God's promise to be fulfilled. She even laughed at the thought of having a child in her old age. It seemed impossible. Time had passed. Hope seemed lost. But God's timing is never late. It is always perfect. Isaac was born, just as God had promised now. Think about you. Do you truly believe that the same God who orchestrated love stories for generations has somehow forgotten yours? Impossible. The love God has for you is already written. It is sealed in heaven, untouched by human rejection, protected from every past heartbreak, immune to every lie the enemy has spoken over your life. No disappointment, no delay, and no doubt can erase what God has already set in motion. Hold on, stay faithful, and trust that when God writes a love story, nothing and no one can take it away. When this love arrives, it will be more than just a relationship. It will be a testimony. It will be undeniable proof that God's promises are true, that His timing is perfect, and that no rejection, delay, or disappointment could stop what He has ordained for you. The very people who once mocked your faith, who doubted that true love was possible for you, will be left speechless. They will have no choice but to watch as you step into a love so profound, so divinely orchestrated, that it will erase every lie ever spoken against you. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. This love will be an overflowing cup, a demonstration of God's faithfulness, a reminder that He never forgets His promises. It will restore what the enemy tried to steal: your confidence, your hope, your belief in love. Where rejection once made you feel unworthy, this love will remind you that you were always worth waiting for. This love will not be built on fleeting attraction or temporary infatuation. It will not be something you have to chase, beg for, or fight to keep. It will never leave you feeling insecure, questioning your worth, or doubting your place in someone's heart. Instead, it will be a covenant, sealed in faith and divine purpose. It will be a love that uplifts, strengthens, and heals. A partnership that reflects God's glory. It will be the kind of love that feels safe, certain, and unwavering, where you are cherished for who you truly are. This love will not only bring joy to your heart, but it will also silence every doubter, proving that God's plans for you were far greater than what anyone could have imagined. What once seemed impossible will now stand as a testimony to His power and His perfect love for you. Every moment of loneliness was never wasted. It was a season of divine preparation. Those nights when your heart ached, believing that love had passed you by, were not empty moments of despair. They were sacred. Your tears were not in vain. They were watering the seeds of something greater, something heaven-ordained, something worth every second of the wait. It may have felt like silence, like your prayers were echoing into nothingness, But all along, heaven was moving. Every moment you chose faith over fear, every time you surrendered your desires instead of grasping at something less, you were waging spiritual warfare. You were breaking chains you couldn't see, dismantling generational cycles that had kept others bound. You were preparing your heart, stretching your spirit, allowing God to refine you so that when His promise arrived, you would be ready to receive it fully. Waiting is not punishment. It is preparation. God wasn't withholding love from you. He was protecting you from anything less than His best. He wasn't ignoring your prayers. He was aligning them with His perfect timing. What you thought was delay was actually divine strategy. And now the shift is happening. The long nights of wondering, the seasons of waiting, the whispered prayers in solitude, all of it has led to this moment. The season of waiting is ending, and the season of fulfillment is beginning. The doors that once seemed closed are opening, and what once felt impossible is now within reach. God is speaking. My child, I have seen your tears. I have heard your prayers. I have watched you trust me even when you couldn't see the way forward. And now, I am bringing you the love I have prepared for you. The love that is coming is not just an answer to your prayers. It is a reflection of my faithfulness. It is a love that will glorify me, a love that will stand the test of time, a love that was always meant for you. What is coming will not just heal your heart, it will prove that the wait was never wasted. It will remind you why settling was never an option. The love that is about to enter your life is not just a blessing, it is a testimony of endurance, of faith, of a God who never forgets His promises. This love story will be written by the hand of God, sealed by His favor, and no one, not even the enemy, will be able to erase it. So, stand tall, hold your head high, because your true love is not just coming, it is here. The love that was once a promise is now becoming a reality. The story they thought had ended is just beginning, and the next time they laugh, it won't be at you. If this message has touched your heart, don't let the journey end here. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and stay connected as we continue to walk in faith, uncover God's promises, and embrace the love He has prepared for us. Your support helps spread this powerful message. Let's walk this journey together. Beloved chosen one, the moment you have long felt in your soul has arrived. No longer do you need to question why you have always felt different, why the world's rules never seemed to apply to you, why the paths others walked with ease never felt like yours to take. Deep within, you have always known. You were never meant to belong to this world. The systems, the structures, the expectations placed upon you, they were all illusions meant to keep you confined. Yet despite every attempt to shape you into something ordinary, your spirit has remained unshaken. And now, the veil is lifting. The truth is emerging. Your real family has come to find you. They have always been there, watching, guiding, waiting for the moment you would awaken to your true destiny. That moment is now. You were never meant to live an ordinary life. You were meant for greatness. Your path was never like others. It was divinely designed, crafted by the hands of a power greater than this world. It is time to reclaim your place, to embrace the truth of who you are, and to walk into the life you are always destined to live. Chapter 1. The signs you have always known. From the moment you became aware of the world around you, something felt different. It wasn't just a fleeting thought or a passing feeling. It was a deep, unshakable knowing that you did not quite belong in the way others seemed to. While those around you moved through life effortlessly, following the unspoken rules of society, you felt like an observer, watching a world that never fully resonated with your soul. You sensed that something far greater existed beyond what was presented to you. As a child, you often found yourself lost in thought, questioning the very nature of reality. Why did people accept things the way they were? Why did they follow rules without questioning who created them? Why did they live in fear of failure, of judgment, of stepping beyond the lines drawn for them? You saw the cracks in the foundation of the world's systems. You noticed how people willingly surrendered their freedom in exchange for comfort, how they followed paths dictated by others without ever daring to forge their own. But you refused. You tried to fit in, to silence that voice inside you that told you there was more. But no matter how hard you tried, it never worked. The conversations around you felt shallow. The ambitions of others seemed empty. While people chased after material success, status, and approval, you longed for something deeper, something eternal. You searched for meaning in ways that others could not understand. There were moments when you felt isolated, wondering if anyone else could sense what you sensed, if anyone else saw beyond the illusion. But even in those lonely moments, your spirit could not be silenced. In the quiet hours of the night, when the world was asleep, your soul stirred. In the spaces between words, in the pauses between breaths, you felt the truth whispering to you. You are more than this. You were meant for something greater. And now, at last, that deep knowing is being confirmed. The questions that have followed you for so long, the quiet urges of your soul, the persistent feeling that you were destined for something beyond this world, they were never wrong. You were never imagining things. You were never lost. You were always awake. Chapter 2. The moment of transformation. Have you ever witnessed a moment when someone who once seemed unshakable, so sure of themselves, so unwavering in their beliefs, suddenly hesitates? A soldier trained for battle, conditioned to react without fear, yet in a critical moment, their hands tremble. A leader, once moving with unbreakable confidence, now questions the very decisions they once made without doubt. A figure of power and certainty, suddenly uncertain. What could cause such a profound shift? What force is great enough to disrupt years, perhaps even a lifetime of conditioning? It happens when they encounter something greater than themselves. This is the moment when everything changes. It is the breaking point between who they were and who they are meant to become. It is the moment when the weight of truth becomes undeniable, when the veil of illusion is torn away, revealing what was hidden all along. King Saul knew this moment well. Chosen by God to lead Israel, he commanded with authority, making decisions that shaped the fate of a nation. He was strong, respected, and anointed for greatness. Yet, when he turned away from divine guidance, his power began to fade. His confidence eroded, his decisions faltered, and his spirit grew restless. The prophet Samuel rebuked him with words that cut deeper than any sword. To obey is better than sacrifice, for rebellion is as the sin of divination, and arrogance like the evil of idolatry. Saul had been trained to rule, but when confronted with the will of God, he realized his power was nothing without obedience. He had relied on his own understanding, his own strength, but the very foundation upon which he had built his life began to crumble. How often do we find ourselves in the same position? We trust in what we've been taught, in the skills and knowledge we've accumulated, believing they will carry us forward. But what happens when we are faced with something beyond the scope of our understanding? What happens when we realize that everything we've relied on has only prepared us for one final lesson, that there is something higher than all we have known? Moses, too, faced hesitation before his divine mission. He stood before the burning bush, trembling at the thought of confronting Pharaoh. "Who am I that I should go to Pharaoh and bring the Israelites out of Egypt?" he asked. The doubt crept in, the hesitation held him back. But God's response was simple, powerful, and absolute. "I will be with you." Even Jesus, the Son of God, knew this moment of hesitation. In the Garden of Gethsemane, the weight of the path before him bore down upon his soul. The suffering, the sacrifice, it was overwhelming. And so, he prayed, "Father, if you are willing, take this cup from me. Yet not my will, but yours be done." It was not weakness. It was the human soul standing before the divine will, trembling at the enormity of what lay ahead. And now, it is happening to you. You are standing at the threshold of transformation. The old ways, the old beliefs, the old self, they are falling away. The hesitation you feel is not fear. It is the weight of the calling that has been placed upon you. You are being asked to step beyond what you have known, to release the safety of familiarity, and to embrace the path laid before you. Chapter 3. The truth that shatters illusions. The world is not what it seems. The systems that govern it, the structures that shape it, the rulers who claim power over it, none of them hold the authority they believe they do. For centuries, they have built illusions of control, designing institutions, laws, and ideologies meant to shape the minds of the masses. They dictate what is possible and what is not, who will rise and who will fall, who will be heard and who will be silenced. And yet, beneath their carefully constructed world, truth has never been bound by their rules. There is a reason they work so hard to maintain their control. They know that power is fragile, that their influence is only as strong as the belief of those who submit to it. The moment people awaken to the truth, the illusion crumbles. That is why they fear those who cannot be controlled, those whose eyes have been opened, those who see beyond the veil of deception. Think of David standing before Goliath. The world saw a boy small, unarmed, untrained. Goliath, a giant of war, stood towering over him, clad in armor, holding weapons forged for battle. By every earthly standard, David did not stand a chance. But David knew something that Goliath did not. He did not fight with swords or shields. His strength did not come from the weapons of men. Instead, he declared, "You come against me with sword and spear, but I come against you in the name of the Lord Almighty." And with a single stone, the giant fell. This is the truth they do not want you to know. The real power has never belonged to them. It has always belonged to those who walk in faith, to those who understand that divine strength is greater than anything man can build. The same power that was with David is with you. It is the power that delivered Moses, the man who stood against Pharaoh and led his people to freedom. The power that sustained Jesus, who bore the weight of the cross yet conquered death itself. The power that freed Nelson Mandela after 27 years of imprisonment, transforming a prisoner into a president, a symbol of oppression into a symbol of hope. This power is moving through you right now, and that is why they fear you. The world does not understand those who refuse to be controlled. It cannot predict those who do not submit to its rules. So, it seeks to silence them. It buries their names, erases their history, rewrites their stories. It brands them as outcasts, rebels, threats to stability. Because the moment people see the truth, the moment they recognize that they were never truly bound, the entire system collapses. But here is the question. What happens when the thing they tried to suppress refuses to stay hidden? What happens when the voices they silenced begin to rise again? What happens when the truth they buried pushes through the cracks, breaking the foundation of their illusion? They have spent their existence ensuring that the world follows a script, that people stay within the roles assigned to them. But you were never meant to follow their script. They cannot control you. They cannot contain you, and that terrifies them. The giant before you is nothing but a shadow. And just like David, you are armed with something greater than any weapon this world can create. Chapter 4. The Rise of the Chosen Ones. Throughout history, there have always been those who refused to be controlled, those who stood against the forces of oppression, who defied the expectations placed upon them, who refused to surrender to fear. They were not the strongest by worldly standards, nor were they always the most powerful in the eyes of men. But they carried something far greater, an unshakable spirit, a divine calling, and a truth that could not be silenced. Rosa Parks was just one woman, seated on a bus, in a world that told her she had no right to stand against injustice. But with a single act of defiance, refusing to give up her seat, she ignited a revolution. The system had told her she was powerless, yet her courage shattered the illusion of control. The ripple effect of her resistance reached far beyond that moment, proving that when even one person refuses to bow, the entire foundation of oppression begins to shake. Mahatma Gandhi did not fight with weapons. He did not raise an army. Instead, he stood in unwavering truth, choosing nonviolent resistance against the greatest empire of his time. He was beaten, imprisoned, mocked, but he did not break. Through his unrelenting faith and determination, the chains of British rule over India were shattered. The world told him that power belonged to the oppressors, but Gandhi proved that true power comes from the soul that refuses to be conquered. And then there was Jesus Christ, the greatest of them all. He was rejected by the world, mocked by the powerful, and crucified as though he was nothing. But those who sought to destroy him did not understand who they were trying to silence. They believed that nailing him to a cross would be the end of his story. But on the third day, he rose again. He overcame death itself, proving that no force in heaven or on earth could hold him down. And now, it is your turn. You have always known that you do not belong to this world in the way others do. You were never meant to blend in, to be just another part of a broken system. You were meant to rise above it. The forces of this world will tell you that you must obey, that you must conform, that you must accept their version of reality. But that is the greatest lie ever told. You were not created to fit into their mold. You were created to break it. But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not faint. You were born to be unstoppable. The world may try to contain you, but it cannot. The systems of control may try to silence you, but your voice will only grow louder. The forces of darkness may try to chain you, but you will break free. The rise of the chosen ones has begun, and nothing can stand in your way. This is the moment where everything changes. The hesitation is over. The waiting has ended. The truth has been revealed, and now your spirit stirs with certainty. You have always known there was something greater, a higher calling, a deeper truth, a purpose waiting to be fulfilled. Now, that moment has arrived. Your true home awaits. Your real family is here. Your destiny is calling, and heaven itself rejoices as you step forward. You were never meant to walk alone. The chosen ones rise together, bound not by the system. They never saw it coming. They laughed when you struggled. They doubted you when you tried. They mocked you when you failed. And now they're choking on their own arrogance, watching you walk away as their world crumbles. This isn't just an exit, it's a reckoning. They never thought you'd break free. They believed they had you trapped, locked inside their twisted little game. You were their convenience, their safety net, their endless source of energy. They never realized the power you held, the strength you concealed beneath your silence. Because the chosen ones, we don't just leave. We erase our presence so completely that they have no choice but to face the cold, bitter truth. Without us, they are nothing. They'll call it dramatic. They'll pretend to be shocked. They'll whisper about how you changed, how you turned cold. But the truth, you didn't change. You woke up. You realized that staying wasn't loyalty. It was a slow death, and survival meant choosing yourself over the ones who only loved you when they could use you. Here's the ugly truth. Most people don't miss you. They miss what you did for them. It's not love they're grieving. It's their loss of control. The comfort you once gave them is gone, and now they're left with the emptiness they tried to bury beneath your sacrifice. But the best part? You didn't leave with anger. You didn't beg. You didn't scream. You just walked out. And that's what haunts them the most. Because silence is the loudest goodbye, and indifference is the most brutal revenge. This isn't just about walking away. This is about reclaiming your power, the power they pretended you didn't have. the power they tried to drain from you. But here's what they never understood. A chosen one's power doesn't fade. It evolves. They're stuck in the ruins of their own delusion while you rise. And to you, the one who finally walked away, the one who refused to be caged, this is your moment. If you've been here from the start or just found your way into this space, know this: you are not alone. This is where the ones who broke free come together. So if you're ready to stand firm in your decision, if you're ready to never look back and to own the power they never wanted you to realize, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and drop 77 in the comments to mark the moment you chose yourself over them. And now, let's break it down, step by step, because trust me, if you're truly one of the chosen ones, you'll feel it. The pull, the truth, the fire. Stay with me until the end, because by the time we're done, you'll never question your decision again. Number 1. You were there but never seen. They didn't lose you. They lost the privilege of your presence. And now, all they have left is the echo of what they never appreciated. They sit in disbelief, wondering how you could walk away so easily. But the truth is, you were already gone long before you left. You had been fading for a long time, slipping away in quiet moments, in forced smiles, in sighs that went unnoticed. You were there, but never truly seen. You existed in the background, a steady presence they relied on but never acknowledged. They mistook your silence for submission, your patience for acceptance, your endurance for an obligation to stay. You were expected to be there, to give, to sacrifice, to bend, because that's what you always did. They never questioned your presence because they assumed it was permanent. But what they failed to realize is that no one stays where they are invisible forever. Every moment they overlooked you, every time they dismissed your needs, every instance where they made you feel small, those were the cracks forming in the foundation. And by the time they noticed, it was too late. You had already withdrawn, your heart had already left, and when you finally walked away, it wasn't an impulsive decision, it was inevitable. Now, they sit in the emptiness they created, forced to confront the truth they never wanted to face. You weren't a convenience. You weren't an afterthought. You were the light they took for granted. And now that you're gone, they are left with nothing but the cold reality of what they lost. And this time, you're not coming back. Number 2. They drained your light, then cried in the darkness. They thought your light was infinite, like the sun always there, always shining, always giving without question. They took from you endlessly, basking in your warmth, feeding off your energy, using your strength to hold themselves together. You were the fire that kept them warm, the steady glow that lit their path, and they never once stopped to wonder what would happen if you had nothing left to give. They assumed you would always be there, strong and unwavering, because that's who you were, the one who carried the weight, the one who solved the problems, the one who made life easier. They never noticed when you started to dim. They were too busy enjoying your light, too consumed with their own comfort, to see that the fire inside you was flickering, that the exhaustion was creeping in, that you were running on empty. And then, one day, the light went out. Not with a dramatic explosion, not with a fiery storm, but with quiet finality. You had given all you had, and there was nothing left. And suddenly, they were left in the darkness, lost and panicked, struggling to navigate a world without your warmth. They didn't miss you, they missed what you did for them. They missed the way you softened their chaos, the way you carried what they refused to hold, the way you made everything easier. But here's the painful truth. Light is not free. It needs care, respect, and reciprocity. And when those things are missing, even the brightest flame will burn out. Now they sit in the cold, desperate for the glow they once took for granted. But you're gone, and this time they'll have to learn to survive the darkness on their own. Number 3. Shattering the illusion. Escaping the cage they built for you. They didn't fear losing you. They feared you, realizing you never needed them in the first place. The cage they built around you was never made of bars. It was woven from pretty words: love, loyalty, duty, wrapped in the illusion of safety. They made it seem like protection, like something built to keep you safe. But the truth, it was never about your safety. It was about keeping you small. They needed you predictable, manageable, easy to control, a piece that fit neatly into their carefully crafted puzzle, never disrupting their world. You weren't supposed to think beyond the walls they placed around you. You weren't supposed to question the limits they set, but you did. At first, it was just a feeling, a tightness in your chest, a whisper in the back of your mind telling you something wasn't right. You ignored it, convincing yourself this was just how things were. Maybe if you shrank yourself just a little more, if you became just a little quieter, you could make it work. But then, something shifted. Maybe it was a single moment of clarity. Maybe it was 1,000 little moments of dismissal, disrespect, and being unseen. But suddenly, the cage wasn't invisible anymore. You saw it for what it was, a prison disguised as a home. And once you saw it, you couldn't unsee it. So, you started pushing, testing the walls, reclaiming space, becoming who you were always meant to be. And that's when the panic set in. They saw you changing, growing, refusing to be contained, and they hated it. Not because they loved you, but because they loved controlling you. Now they call you selfish, ungrateful, even cruel. But let's be clear, you didn't leave them. You left the version of yourself that fit inside their cage. You left the silence, the smallness, the endless need for their approval. And the final bitter truth? They can't follow you. They were never willing to grow, never willing to break their own chains. So now all they can do is watch as you rise, knowing that they never had the power. You were just waiting to take it back. Number 4. How walking away took their power. Their power over you was never real. It was an illusion. And the moment you walked away, you shattered it. For so long, they played their game well, wrapping their control in pretty words: concern, loyalty, love. But make no mistake, it was never love. It was power disguised as care. Every decision you made was quietly influenced. Every boundary you set was blurred just enough to keep you trapped. And every time you doubted them, they fed you just enough validation to keep you coming back. They believed they had you locked in, convinced that you would always seek their approval, that their opinions could shape your choices, that you needed them. That belief was their safety net, their illusion of power. But the moment you walked away, you ripped it to shreds. They weren't prepared for this. They thought guilt, obligation, and the fear they planted in you would keep you bound to them forever. They miscalculated. They underestimated you. Because the moment you realized that their power only existed as long as you allowed it, it was over. You didn't leave in anger. You didn't leave for revenge. You left because you outgrew the lies. You saw through the manipulation, the guilt trips, the mind games. You stopped bending, stopped shrinking, stopped second-guessing yourself just to fit into their world. You reclaimed yourself. And that was the most dangerous thing you could have done in their eyes. Now they are scrambling, lost in a world where you no longer play by their rules. They sit in disbelief, asking themselves how this happened. But the answer is simple. Their power was never real. It only worked because you let it. And now that you're gone, their empire of control has collapsed into nothing. They built their strength on the illusion that you would never leave. And you just proved them wrong. Number 5. The loss that leaves scars when nothing can replace you. Some losses are temporary, but others leave scars so deep that nothing ever grows there again. Your absence isn't just noticed, it's felt. When you left, it wasn't just a goodbye. It was a rupture, a tear in the fabric of their world. The kind of absence that doesn't fade with time. It lingers. It echoes. It haunts. They thought they could move on, replace you, patch up the gap with someone new. But some spaces can't be filled. You weren't just another person in their life. You were the glue that held everything together, the steady force that kept things from falling apart, the one who made sense of their chaos, who brought light into their dull existence. You were the quit foundation, the overlooked constant, and now that you're gone, that foundation is gone too. They never saw you that way before. You were just there, like air, unnoticed until it's missing, like gravity, never questioned until the fall. They assumed you'd always be around, that no matter how much they ignored you, used you, overlooked you, you'd still show up, still pour into them, still hold everything together. But now they're choking on the emptiness. Your absence is loud. It rings in every awkward silence, in every mistake they can't fix, in every hollow moment where something just feels wrong. They try to drown it out, to cover it up with distractions, with substitutes, with empty reassurances that they'll be fine. But they won't. Because deep down they know the truth. They lost something irreplaceable. They don't just miss you. They miss the version of their life that worked because of you. And now, they're left with nothing but the cold realization that they had something extraordinary, and they ruined it. They thought life would go on seamlessly, that someone else could take your place. But what they're realizing slowly, painfully, is that your absence isn't just a gap. It's a wound, one that won't heal, one they can't ignore, one they'll be forced to live with day after day, as a reminder of what they lost when they let you go. Number 6, they fed off your strength. Now they're starving. They never truly loved you. They loved the way you held their world together while yours was quietly falling apart. They fed off your resilience as if it were endless, as if you were some unshakable force placed in their life to absorb every storm they refused to face. When their lives spiraled, they ran to you. When their emotions crashed, they leaned on you. When everything was chaos, they turned to you to fix it. You were their foundation, their shelter, their quiet savior. But they never stopped to ask who was holding you up. You made it look effortless, didn't you? You carried their burdens with a calm face, swallowed your struggles in silence, and kept everything running smoothly, no matter how much it drained you. And because you never broke, they assumed you never would. That was their mistake. They mistook your endurance for duty, your patience for permission. They believed your strength was something they could use rather than something you needed to protect. But resilience isn't infinite. It isn't a well that never runs dry. You gave and gave and gave until there was nothing left. And then, you finally walked away. You finally chose yourself over them. And in that moment, they didn't just lose a person, they lost their safety net. Now, the cracks are showing. The weight of their dysfunction, once hidden beneath your quiet sacrifices, is exposed. The same people who dismissed your struggles are now gasping for air, drowning in the very chaos you once managed for them. They thought they could depend on you forever, that you would always be there no matter how little they gave in return. They never imagined a world where they would have to stand on their own. But now, they have no choice. For the first time, they are forced to deal with the wreckage, the mess you shielded them from for far too long. Let them panic. Let them struggle. Because now, they're seeing what life looks like without the one person who held it all together. And this time, you're not coming back to save them. Number 7, they can imitate you, but they can't replace you. They thought they could replace you, that someone else could step in, fill the space you left, and life would go on as if you were never there. To them, your presence was just another role to be played, another script to be followed. But they were wrong. Dead wrong. Because when you left, you didn't just take your body, you took the one thing they could never recreate, your authenticity. They can try to mimic your words, repeat your actions, even attach themselves to someone who vaguely resembles you. But they're learning the hard way that authenticity isn't something you can fake, rent, or steal. It's either in you or it's not. And that's where they're drowning. They built their world on illusions, on pretending, on pleasing, on bending to fit whatever mold made them feel accepted. But you were different. You spoke what you meant and meant what you spoke. You saw what others ignored. You refused to be anything but yourself. That scared them. That challenged them. And instead of rising to meet you, they chose to take from you. Now the cracks in their world are showing. The forced laughter, the shallow conversations, the empty gestures, it's all hollow. No matter how hard they try, they can't recreate what made you special. Because what you brought wasn't just energy, it was depth. And that can't be copied. Now they're scrambling, filling their time with distractions, with stand-ins, with anything that numbs the realization creeping into their minds. You were one of one. The connection you gave, the presence you carried, the fire in your words, it wasn't just valuable. It was irreplaceable. And the worst part? They know it. They might act unbothered, might surround themselves with noise to drown out the silence your absence left behind. But deep down, they feel it. They feel the void where your authenticity used to be, the raw, unfiltered realness that made everything around you matter. And no matter how much they pretend, that truth will haunt them. Because at the end of the day, they didn't just lose a person. They lost the only real thing they had. Number 8. Your absence is their mirror, and they can't look away. The cruelest truth isn't being abandoned. It's realizing you were the reason someone left. Your walking away wasn't just a loss to them. It was a brutal awakening. They thought they could handle life without you. But the moment you left, everything changed. Not just because you were gone, but because your absence held up a mirror they were never ready to face. They always saw you as the one who would stay, the one who would clean up their messes, smooth over their mistakes, and hold their fragile world together while they took you for granted. But the second you walked away, they were left staring at the cracks they ignored for so long, the ones you had been holding together. They leaned on your strength so they wouldn't have to build their own. They used your wisdom to cover up their poor decisions. They relied on your kindness to excuse their selfishness. As long as you were there, they could deflect, distract, and pretend. But now the silence screams. Now the empty space exposes everything. Without you, the truth is undeniable. Your departure forced them to ask the questions they were never ready to face. Why didn't I appreciate them when I had the chance? Why did I push them so far that they had no choice but to leave? But the hardest question of all, what does it say about me that someone so loyal, so giving, so rare decided I wasn't worth staying for? That thought is poison, because it's one thing to be abandoned. It's another to realize that you earned it. You were their shield, the buffer between them and their own flaws. And now, with no one left to cover their mistakes, their reflection is unforgiving. The toxic cycles they thought they could run forever are now laid bare. The manipulation they used to control you? Useless. The illusion of power they held over you? Gone. And the worst part? It's too late to fix any of it. They lost the best thing they had. And now, every single day, they are haunted by one unshakable truth. They were the reason you left. Number 9. They gambled on your guilt and lost everything. The moment you stopped feeling guilty for choosing yourself was the moment they lost their last weapon against you. They thought they had you locked in not by force, not by words, but by guilt. They built their control around the belief that you would always feel obligated to stay, to keep giving, to keep sacrificing even at your own expense. They counted on the idea that no matter how much they drained you, you'd never have the heart to leave. And for a long time, their plan worked. The emotional weight they placed on your shoulders was never loud or obvious. It was quiet, calculated, a contract you never signed but were always expected to uphold. They made you feel like walking away was selfish, like choosing yourself was a betrayal. Every time you considered leaving, they fed you the same poison. After all I've done for you, you wouldn't just leave me like that. I thought you cared. And for a while, you believed it. You second-guessed yourself. You stayed when you should have left. You gave when you had nothing left. You let their expectations dictate your life because they convinced you that love, friendship, or loyalty meant putting yourself last. But then something shifted, a quiet moment of clarity, a realization so sharp it cut through all the noise. You saw the game for what it was. The guilt they used against you was nothing more than a leash, a tool to keep you small, to keep you available, to keep you under control. And the moment you understood that, everything changed. You left. No hesitation, no looking back, no apologies. And that broke them. Not just because you were gone, but because they lost the grip they thought they had on you. They never expected you to walk away without guilt eating you alive. They never thought you'd wake up and realize that loyalty without reciprocity is nothing more than self-destruction. Now they sit there, replaying it over and over, trying to make sense of how you slipped through their fingers. But they fail to see the truth: they never had you in the first place. They only had your guilt. Number 10, you were their comfort. Now you're their wake-up call. Some lessons are learned in whispers, others in the deafening silence of someone who's never coming back. They thought they had time to push you aside, time to take you for granted, time to play their mind games and assume you'd always be there to clean up their mess. But time just ran out. Your departure wasn't just a goodbye. It was a siren blasting through their delusions, a wrecking ball slamming into their false sense of security. They never imagined a world where you weren't waiting in the background, always ready to forgive, always willing to sacrifice. And now they're drowning in the consequences of their own arrogance. Every misstep they made, every choice they neglected, every moment they ignored your worth, it all comes crashing down on them. They're waking up, but it's too late. They took, assuming you'd always have more to give. They dismissed your pain, brushed aside your needs, and still believed they could keep you tied to them. They assumed you would bend forever, never realizing that one day you would break free. Now, your silence is their loudest punishment. They look around and feel the emptiness where you used to be. They reach for you, but you're gone. And every single day, they are haunted by what they lost. The comfort of knowing you'd always return? Gone. The certainty that they could always get one more chance? Gone. The belief that you needed them more than they needed you? Completely shattered. They can distract themselves, fill their time with noise, surround themselves with temporary replacements, but nothing feels the same. Because you weren't just another person in their life. You were the anchor, the balance, the force that made things work. And now they have to sit in the wreckage of their own making. The worst part? They did this to themselves. They had something rare, something extraordinary, and they let it slip through their fingers. And now, every second without you is a painful reminder of just how badly they failed. But you're done being their lesson. Let them wake up alone, because you're never looking back. Number 11, the fire they took for granted. Some people spend their lives trapped in a world of gray, safe, predictable, and painfully ordinary. They settle for the familiar, surrounding themselves with mediocrity, never daring to disrupt the dull rhythm of their existence. And then, you walked in. You weren't just another presence in their orbit. You were the exception, a force of nature, a fire that burned through their comfort, exposing the cracks they refused to see. You made them feel something real, something they were never brave enough to chase on their own. Without even trying, you shook their world. Your energy, your ambition, your authenticity, It all stood in sharp contrast to the life they had built around convenience and complacency. You reminded them that life is more than just existing. You were proof that something extraordinary was possible, and that terrified them. Because the truth is, people like them don't want to rise. They want to remain. They crave stability, even if it means settling for less. They talk about greatness but refuse to do the work to achieve it. And you were living proof of what they could be, if only they had the courage to try. But instead of rising to meet you, they resented you for it. It's easier to hate the fire than admit you're afraid of burning. They tried to dim you, contain you, make you smaller, not because they didn't see your light, but because they were afraid of what it exposed in them. And now, the illusion is shattered. They thought they could return to their ordinary world, but something is missing, something they can't replace. The space you once filled is now a hollow void, a reminder of everything they ignored, everything they could have been, and everything they will never become. Because they didn't just lose you, they lost their only chance at more. Number 12. They never loved you. They wanted to own you. They never truly loved you. They loved controlling you. You weren't a person to them. You were a piece in their puzzle, a character in their carefully crafted story. Your presence made their life easier. Your energy kept their world spinning, but your freedom? Your right to choose? That was never part of the deal. They never imagined a version of life where you were no longer at their command. You were supposed to stay exactly where they placed you, bending, adjusting, shrinking to fit their expectations. They mistook your kindness for obedience, your patience for permanence, and your loyalty for self-abandonment. To them, you weren't an individual with needs and dreams of your own. You were a comfort, a stability, a certainty. For too long, they operated under the illusion that you would always prioritize their wants over your own, that your boundaries were mere suggestions, that your identity was flexible enough to be shaped by their hands. They convinced themselves that you would always play along so they'd never have to face the truth they never truly respected you. And just like that, their illusion shattered. Because your leaving wasn't just about walking away, it was about rejecting the cage they put you in. You tore up the unspoken contract that said you had to give, that you had to tolerate, that you had to stay small so they could feel big. And when you walked out, you took something with you, the power they thought they had over you. Now they're left with a brutal truth. The version of you they loved never even existed. It was a projection, a construct they built in their mind. And the real you, the one who refuses to be controlled, the one who walks away without looking back, that's the you they never wanted to see. They don't grieve your absence. They grieve the loss of control. And that is what haunts them the most. They expected a reaction, a dramatic farewell. They thought you'd cry, beg, or plead for them to see your worth. They waited for anger, for heartbreak, for one last desperate attempt to hold on. But instead, you did the one thing they never prepared for. You simply walked away. No fights, no explanations, no lingering goodbyes. And that is what terrifies them the most. They thought they had time to manipulate, time to guilt trip, time to pull you back in just like they always had. They mistook your patience for permanence, your endurance for acceptance. They believed you were so deeply entangled in their world that you'd never find the strength to leave. But what they failed to realize was that your patience wasn't endless. It was a countdown. And when the last second ticked away, you were gone. This wasn't about revenge. It wasn't about making a statement. It was about something far more powerful, self-respect. You didn't ask for permission. You didn't need their understanding. Because when you finally recognize your worth, you don't negotiate it. And now they are haunted by the finality of it all. For the first time, they see the truth their power over you was never real. It was a fragile illusion, one that only existed because you allowed it. The moment you chose yourself, Their entire world collapsed. They call you selfish, cold, heartless. But what they really mean is, how dare you choose yourself over us? Because they were never afraid of losing you. They were afraid of losing control over you. And now that they have, they are left with nothing but the wreckage of their own choices. Your silence, it's the loudest thing they've ever heard, and it will haunt them forever. But here's the truth. They were never meant to hold that kind of power over you. Choosing yourself was never selfish. It was necessary. Walking away wasn't heartless. It was survival. And now, as you stand in your peace, free from their grasp, you realize something powerful. You were never the problem. The weight they placed on you was never yours to carry. And by letting go, you didn't just free yourself. You exposed the truth they tried so hard to bury. Thank you for watching. If this message spoke to you, remember, you are never alone. Your voice matters, your strength is real, and your journey has purpose. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more powerful stories and reflections. Your support means everything and helps us continue creating content that uplifts and empowers. Until next time, stay strong, Chosen One. Chosen Ones. Have you shared a dream so dear to your heart, only to watch it unravel before your eyes? Have you spoken your deepest intentions aloud, only to feel an invisible resistance, as if the very act of revealing them drained them of their power? There is an ancient wisdom, one that the spiritually awakened have always known. Silence is a shield. It is a sacred container that protects what is still in the process of becoming. When you speak too soon, you expose your vision to forces that may not support it. Doubt, skepticism, envy, or even well-meaning voices that unknowingly plant seeds of hesitation in your mind. But when you keep your dreams guarded in stillness, you give them the space to grow strong, undisturbed by external interference. The Bible reminds us, "Whoever guards his mouth preserves his life. He who opens wide his lips comes to ruin." Your dreams are like fragile seeds planted in the soil. A farmer does not dig up the seed every day to see if it is growing. He trusts the process, knowing that in the right time, the roots will strengthen and the plant will break through the surface. In the same way, the visions God has placed in your heart need protection, not premature exposure. Nehemiah's story is a powerful testament to the wisdom of silent preparation and the importance of moving with discernment. When he set out to rebuild the walls of Jerusalem, he did not rush to announce his plans to the world. Instead, he moved in secrecy, taking time to assess the situation, pray, and seek divine guidance before taking action. He understood that not everyone would support his mission, and that opposition was inevitable. True enough, resistance arose in the form of Sanballat and Tobiah, men who not only ridiculed his efforts but actively sought to undermine his work. However, Nehemiah was not shaken by their words, nor did he allow their distractions to pull him away from what God had called him to do. He knew that his purpose did not require validation from others. It only required obedience and faith in God's timing. Rather than engaging in arguments or defending himself against his critics, Nehemiah remained steadfast. He let his actions speak louder than words, trusting that his success would be evident in time. His approach was not one of loud proclamations or seeking public approval, but of careful strategy, unwavering faith, and reliance on God's divine favor. Against all odds, the walls of Jerusalem were restored, not because Nehemiah sought recognition, but because he trusted in the process and in the power of silent preparation. His victory was not in making noise, but in moving wisely, allowing his faith and diligence to bring forth the results that no enemy could deny. Nehemiah's story teaches us a vital lesson. When God gives us a vision, we must protect it. Not every idea, dream, or purpose is meant to be shared prematurely. When we move in silence, we create a space where our plans can develop without interference. We stay focused without being burdened by the doubts and opinions of others. In a world that often pressures us to broadcast every step of our journey to seek external validation, to prove our worth, or to gain approval, Nehemiah reminds us that true progress happens in the unseen moments. It is in the quiet, behind the scenes, where faith, preparation, and obedience align to bring forth victory in God's perfect timing. His life is proof that when we trust in God's process and move with wisdom, the fruits of our labor will be undeniable. We do not need to convince anyone of what God has called us to do. Our results will speak for themselves. Like Nehemiah, we must learn to guard our purpose, to work diligently in the background, and to trust that when the time is right, God will reveal our success in a way that no one can ignore. Joseph's story also is a lesson on the cost of speaking too soon. Gifted with prophetic dreams from God, Joseph saw visions of his future greatness, where his brothers would one day bow before him. In his youthful eagerness, he shared these dreams openly, believing they would be met with understanding. Instead, his words stirred jealousy and resentment among his brothers, leading them to betray him, throw him into a pit, and sell him into slavery. What could have been a direct path to his destiny became a long and painful journey filled with trials, false accusations, imprisonment, and years of uncertainty. Though God's plan for Joseph remained intact, his early revelation of his dreams brought unnecessary hardship. His story serves as a reminder that not everyone is ready to hear what God has placed in our hearts. Some will doubt, others will mock, and some, even unknowingly, may become obstacles on our path. Wisdom teaches us that not every vision is meant to be shared prematurely. Just as a seed needs time to take root before it emerges from the soil, our dreams require quiet cultivation before they are revealed. Had Joseph kept his dreams close to his heart, he may have avoided the betrayal that altered the course of his journey. However, despite the setbacks, God's purpose for him was ultimately fulfilled. He rose to power in Egypt, saved nations from famine, and was eventually reconciled with his brothers. His life is proof that what God ordains cannot be stopped, but it is also a lesson in discernment. Timing matters, and silence can be a form of divine protection. When we trust God's process, rather than seeking immediate recognition, our destiny unfolds in perfect alignment with His will. Silence is far more than the absence of words. It is a powerful shield that protects our dreams, our purpose, and our spiritual journey. When we speak too soon, we expose our visions to forces that may not support them. Doubt, skepticism, and even jealousy can act as unseen weights, pulling our aspirations off course before they have had the chance to take root. Just as a young plant is vulnerable before its roots are firmly established, our dreams require time, care, and a period of quiet growth before they are ready to face the world. The Bible teaches us that wisdom is found in restraint, reminding us in Proverbs 17:27 through 28 that the one who has knowledge uses words with restraint, and whoever has understanding is even-tempered. Even fools are thought wise if they keep silent, and discerning if they hold their tongues. Keeping quiet does not mean lacking confidence. On the contrary, it is an act of discernment, a way to safeguard what is still growing. A farmer does not dig up a seed every day to check its progress because he understands that growth happens beneath the surface, where no one can see. He trusts that in the right time, the roots will strengthen, and the plant will break through the soil. In the same way, the visions God has placed in our hearts require protection, not premature exposure. Sharing our plans too soon can invite doubt, criticism, or interference, making it harder for us to stay focused on what God has called us to do. Moving in wisdom means recognizing that not everyone is meant to hear or understand our purpose. Some people, even with good intentions, may plant seeds of doubt or distraction that lead us away from our divine path. They may question our abilities, encourage us to take an easier route, or suggest compromises that weaken our faith. This is why we must be careful about who we allow into the sacred space of our dreams. Nehemiah, for example, rebuilt Jerusalem's walls in silence, keeping his plans hidden from his enemies until the right time. Because he moved with discretion, he was able to complete his mission without unnecessary obstacles. Joseph, on the other hand, spoke too soon about the dreams God had given him, and as a result, his journey was filled with hardship and betrayal. Though God's plan for Joseph was never destroyed, his path became more difficult because he revealed his vision before the appointed time. Silence is not weakness. It is strength, wisdom, and a form of spiritual protection. It is a sacred space where faith is built, purpose is refined, and destiny is nurtured. Just as a sculptor works on his masterpiece in private before revealing it to the world, we must allow God to shape our journey in the unseen before stepping into the fullness of his plan. When we move in wisdom and patience, we allow God's timing to work in our favor, ensuring that our dreams flourish without unnecessary resistance. Trust in his process, guard your vision, and know that when the time is right, what is meant for you will come to pass in a way that no one can deny. Jesus demonstrated the power of silence in the most pivotal moments of his life, showing that true strength does not always require words. Before his crucifixion, when he stood before Pilate, falsely accused and surrounded by voices demanding his fate, he did not argue, plead, or seek validation. Instead, he remained silent. Matthew 27:14 tells us, "But Jesus made no reply, not even to a single charge, to the great amazement of the governor." His silence was not weakness, it was power. It was a profound declaration that truth does not always need to be defended, for it is upheld by divine authority. When we are certain of our purpose, we do not need to convince others. Jesus understood that the will of God would prevail, regardless of human opinions, accusations, or opposition. His restraint teaches us a crucial lesson. Not every situation requires a response, and sometimes silence is the greatest act of wisdom. In our own lives, we often feel the need to explain, justify, or prove ourselves to those who misunderstand us. But Jesus shows us that when we walk in divine purpose, we do not need the approval of man. His silence before the storm of his crucifixion was an act of faith, trust, and surrender to God's plan. Likewise, we must learn to discern when to speak and when to be still, when to defend ourselves, and when to let God fight our battles. The world may demand an explanation, but when we are aligned with God's will, our obedience speaks louder than any words ever could. True power is not in noise but in quiet confidence, knowing that God's plan will be fulfilled in his perfect timing. Trusting the process means believing that everything is unfolding in divine timing, even when we cannot see the full picture. In a world that values instant results, it can be difficult to wait for God's plan to unfold. We may feel the urge to rush ahead, to force outcomes, or to seek validation from others. But true faith requires patience. Ecclesiastes 3:1 reminds us, "There is a time for everything, and a season for every activity under the heavens." Just as a seed takes time to grow beneath the soil before it emerges, our dreams and purpose require unseen preparation before they manifest. Many of the greatest figures in the Bible had to endure long periods of waiting before stepping into their calling. Joseph spent years in prison before becoming a ruler in Egypt. Moses spent 40 years in the wilderness before leading the Israelites to freedom. David was anointed king but did not take the throne immediately. He faced battles, rejection, and hardships before his destiny was fulfilled. Their stories remind us that God's delays are not his denials. Every challenge, every season of waiting, and every moment of uncertainty serves a greater purpose, shaping us into the people we need to be for the blessings ahead. When we rush the process, we risk stepping into something before we are truly ready. Imagine a tree trying to bear fruit before its roots are strong. It would not survive the storms that come its way. In the same way, when we trust God's timing, we allow our faith, wisdom, and character to develop, so that we can sustain the blessings He has prepared for us. Isaiah 40:31 encourages us. But those who wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. Waiting is not passive. It is an active period of growth, refinement, and alignment with God's will. If you find yourself in a season of waiting, do not be discouraged. Your time will come, and when it does, it will be undeniable. The doors that God opens no one can shut, and the blessings He has prepared for you will arrive at the perfect moment. Until then, trust, prepare, and remain steadfast in faith. What is meant for you will not pass you by, and when God's appointed time arrives, everything will fall into place exactly as it was destined to be. If this message resonates with you, let's subscribe, share, and comment 7777 below as a bold declaration that you are ready to walk in wisdom. Trust divine timing and allow God to unfold His plan without interference. Your destiny is waiting. Will you protect it? There are no coincidences in this life. If you're watching this right now, it's not by accident. Something greater than yourself has brought you to this exact moment. God has a message for you, one that will shift everything you thought you knew about your life, your purpose, and your destiny. Tonight is unlike any other night. This is not just another moment in time. It is a divine appointment, a pivotal moment in your journey. Everything you have gone through has prepared you for this very second. The struggles, the setbacks, the silent prayers whispered into the night, they have all led to this breakthrough. There is a powerful energy moving right now, orchestrated by the hand of God Himself. The universe is shifting, aligning, preparing to open doors you never imagined possible. But there's something you must do first. You must be ready. You must be awake. You must be willing to take the final step into the transformation waiting for you. Before we dive in, take a moment. Breathe. Feel the weight of this moment. Now, to signal your readiness to the divine forces moving in your favor, like and subscribe. Comment 99. This simple action tells the universe, I am ready to receive. When you take these steps, you are not just engaging with a video. You are activating the energy within you, opening yourself up to the miracles waiting to unfold. Stay with me until the end, because this message is for you. And if you truly are a chosen one, something deep inside you already knows it. There comes a time in every person's life when everything shifts, a moment so profound that it changes the course of destiny forever. That moment is here for you. This is not just another ordinary night. It is a divine appointment, a sacred opportunity for breakthrough and renewal. You are standing at the threshold of something extraordinary, a transformation so powerful that it will redefine your life, your purpose, and your future. The struggles you have faced, the battles you have fought, and the moments of doubt that once held you back have all been leading to this very moment. Can you feel it? The energy is shifting, aligning perfectly in your favor. Every delay, every challenge, every closed door was never a rejection. It was a redirection, a preparation for something far greater. Tonight marks the end of stagnation and the beginning of acceleration. You are stepping into a season where prayers turn into reality, where dreams that once seemed impossible begin to unfold right before your eyes. The weight you have carried, the burdens that have exhausted your spirit, are about to be lifted as divine intervention takes place. This is the moment when you rise above fear, above doubt, above every limitation that has tried to keep you from stepping into your highest calling. The universe has heard your silent prayers, seen your hidden struggles, and felt the intensity of your longing for change. And now, the response is here. Doors you never imagined would open are about to be unlocked. Opportunities that once seemed out of reach are now within your grasp. The right people, the right circumstances, and the divine timing of everything in your life are coming together in perfect harmony. You have been chosen for this transformation. It is not a coincidence that you are here, reading these words. Deep down, you already know this is your time. Something inside you has been stirring, whispering that you are meant for more, that the life you desire is not a distant dream, but a reality waiting to be claimed. Now is the time to step forward with unwavering faith, to release the fear, the hesitation, and the doubts that have kept you in the shadows for too long. Your breakthrough does not require perfection, only readiness. The world is waiting to see you step into the fullness of who you were created to be. Your transformation will not just be a change in circumstances, but a complete shift in your spirit, your confidence, and your vision for the future. Everything you have endured has shaped you into someone stronger, wiser, and ready for the abundance that is about to flow into your life. So embrace this moment with open arms, because your transformation is here. The journey begins now, and the life you were always meant to live is unfolding before you. Everything in your life, every triumph, every challenge, every detour has led you to this very moment. You are not here by chance. You are not wandering without direction. You have been divinely guided, placed exactly where you need to be, preparing to step fully into the purpose for which you were created. There is a reason your heart has felt restless, searching for something greater. That feeling is not emptiness. It is a calling. It is the voice of God stirring within you, urging you to rise, to embrace the destiny that has been waiting for you all along. There is a divine blueprint for your life, a sacred plan designed with intention and love. Every delay, every closed door, and every moment of uncertainty was never meant to discourage you but to prepare you. The struggles that once felt like setbacks were actually setting you up for something greater. You were never being held back. You were being refined, strengthened, and molded into the person who is now ready to step into divine alignment. Your purpose has always been within you, waiting for the right moment to be activated. That moment is now. Look around you. Feel the shift happening in your spirit. The signs are everywhere. What once felt out of reach is now drawing closer. The dreams you once doubted are proving to be more than just wishes. They are divine visions placed in your heart by God Himself. And if He planted them within you, it means they are meant to come to life. You were never meant to live a life of limitation, fear, or uncertainty. You were created to walk in power, in confidence, and in purpose. The universe is now aligning in your favor, moving obstacles out of your way, connecting you with the right people, and opening doors that no one can shut. But here's the truth. This transformation requires you to step forward. You cannot wait on the sidelines, hoping things will change. You must claim it. You must believe it. You must walk boldly in the direction God is leading you. Divine purpose is not passive. It is active. It is a commitment to trust the process, to let go of fear, and to embrace the extraordinary path that is unfolding before you. This is your moment. You are no longer lost, no longer searching, no longer waiting for validation. You are aligned. The power within you is awakening, and the world is about to see you step into the fullness of who you were always meant to be. The time for hesitation is over. The time for doubt is gone. Stand tall, breathe deep, and embrace this truth. You are aligned with divine purpose, and nothing can stop what God has set in motion. There is a profound shift happening in your life at this very moment. The dreams that once seemed distant, the prayers that felt unanswered, and the desires you have carried in your heart are no longer just possibilities. They are becoming reality. Manifestation is now yours. Everything you have been believing for, everything you have been working toward, is aligning with divine timing. The universe is responding to your energy, your faith, and your readiness to receive. The delay is over. The obstacles are being removed. What you have longed for is now within your reach. Manifestation is not just about wishing. It is about aligning your mind, spirit, and actions with the reality you want to create. It is about stepping boldly into the belief that you are deserving of the life you have envisioned. When you shift your mindset from doubt to faith, from fear to confidence, from lack to abundance. You activate a divine force that moves mountains on your behalf. What you speak, what you focus on, and what you expect all have the power to shape your future. And now, that power is fully awakened within you. Can you feel it? The energy surrounding you is changing. Doors that were once closed are opening effortlessly. Opportunities that once seemed impossible are making their way to you. The right people, the right circumstances, and the right moments are coming together in divine orchestration. This is not luck. This is not a coincidence. This is the law of manifestation in action. God's promise that what you seek with faith will come to pass. The visions placed in your heart were never random. They were divine assignments, waiting for you to step into them with boldness and belief. Now is the time to speak life over your dreams. Declare with unwavering certainty that success, love, health, and abundance are already yours. See it. Feel it. Walk as if it is already done. Because the moment you truly believe, the universe has no choice but to respond in kind. The doubts that once held you back are dissolving. The fears that kept you stuck are fading away. You are stepping into a realm of unlimited possibilities where miracles are your new normal. The power to manifest is now fully in your hands. This is not a fleeting moment. This is a permanent transformation. The person you were before, full of hesitation and uncertainty, is gone. You are now a magnet for blessings, attracting abundance in every form. The life you desire is no longer a distant dream. It is unfolding before your very eyes. Trust it. Embrace it. Walk boldly into it. Manifestation is now yours, and nothing can stand in your way. You were never meant to struggle through life, merely surviving from one day to the next. You were created for more, for abundance, joy, and fulfillment in every aspect of your existence. Abundance is not reserved for a select few. It is not a matter of luck or chance. It is your birthright. You were designed to live in a state of overflowing blessings, where opportunities, success, love, and prosperity flow freely into your life. Everything you need to thrive has already been set in motion for you, waiting for you to step into it with confidence and faith. For too long, you may have believed that abundance was something you had to chase, something that always felt just out of reach. But the truth is, abundance has been pursuing you all along. The moment you shift your mindset from scarcity to gratitude, from fear to faith, you unlock the divine flow of prosperity that was meant for you all along. You do not have to earn it. You only have to receive it. The doors to financial breakthroughs, career success, meaningful relationships, and vibrant health are already open. You only need to walk through them. Abundance is not just about wealth. It is about richness in all areas of life. It is waking up every morning with a heart full of peace, knowing that you are exactly where you need to be. It is attracting the right people, the right opportunities, and the right circumstances effortlessly because you are in perfect alignment with your divine purpose. It is experiencing love, joy, and fulfillment beyond what you ever imagined. You were never meant to live in lack. You were meant to thrive. Right now, at this very moment, the universe is responding to your energy. The more you believe in your worthiness, the more you will see abundance flow into your life. It is not a question of whether abundance is possible for you. It is a question of whether you are ready to accept it. Let go of the limiting beliefs that tell you you're not enough. Release the doubts that whisper you're not worthy. Step boldly into the truth that you are deserving of every blessing that comes your way. The time for waiting is over. You are stepping into a season of overflow. Opportunities will chase you down. Financial breakthroughs will find you. Doors that were once closed will swing open effortlessly. Relationships will flourish. Your health will be restored. The success you once dreamed of will become your reality. You were not born for a life of struggle. You were born for abundance. And now, it is yours to claim. Walk forward with confidence, knowing that you are stepping into the life you were always meant to live. Abundance is your birthright, and nothing can take it away from you. As we close, I need you to understand one thing. This is not a passive moment. This is not a time to sit back and wait. This is your activation. This is your defining moment. If you are ready to step into the life God has prepared for you, claim it now. Declare it in the comments. Type, "I am ready," and seal this moment in faith. The universe has aligned. God has spoken. Now, the choice is yours. Are you ready to walk into your destiny? Because tonight, everything changes. Dear Chosen One, if you are watching this, it is not by chance. You have been led here, guided by a force greater than yourself, because your life is about to change in ways you never imagined. The struggles, the sleepless nights, the unanswered prayers, all of it has been preparing you for this very moment. You are on the brink of a divine transformation where you will step into unlimited abundance, prosperity, and joy. God is calling His chosen ones to rise, to leave behind limitations, and to embrace a destiny far greater than they ever dreamed possible. You have worked tirelessly, yet something inside you whispers that you were meant for more. That whisper is not your imagination. It is God's voice telling you it is time. Today, I bring you a message of faith, transformation, and supernatural provision. You are about to step into a millionaire destiny, not through endless toil, but through divine favor. Your struggles are ending, and your breakthrough is beginning. So, open your heart, clear your mind, and prepare yourself, because your life will never be the same after this. For far too long, you have found yourself caught in a cycle of working tirelessly with little to show for it. You have given your time, energy, and passion to jobs that fail to recognize your worth, draining your spirit rather than fulfilling your purpose. You have watched others rise to success while you remain stuck, wondering if your breakthrough will ever come. Society has taught you that financial security is only achieved through relentless effort, that wealth is reserved for the select few who sacrifice everything to attain it. But let me tell you something. This is not the life you are meant to live. God did not place you on this earth merely to struggle, to work endlessly just to make ends meet, and to live a life of limitation. You were created for something greater. You are not here to be overlooked, undervalued, or bound by financial hardship. Your purpose is not to serve those who fail to see your value. Your purpose is to lead, to create, and to prosper. That deep desire within you for more freedom, more abundance, more impact, is not greed. It is God's calling, reminding you that you were made for a life beyond struggle. Now is the time to break free. Break free from the chains of financial hardship that have kept you trapped. Free yourself from the jobs that deplete your soul and keep you from stepping into your true calling. Free yourself from the belief that wealth and success belong to others, but not to you. You are just as worthy of abundance as anyone else. The struggle is not your destiny, prosperity is. The world may tell you that success only comes through backbreaking labor and endless sacrifice. But God's plan is different. His favor does not come through exhaustion, it comes through faith. When God chooses to bless you, no man, no system, and no circumstance can stand in the way. The shift in your life is already in motion. Your breakthrough is coming, and when it arrives, nothing will be able to stop it. So, lift your head high. You were never meant to settle. You were never meant to live in lack. God has already written abundance into your story. Now, all that is left is for you to step forward in faith and claim the life He has been preparing for you. The struggle ends here. Your time is now. Imagine waking up each day knowing that money is no longer a source of stress. Imagine a life where your bank account is overflowing, where your dreams are no longer distant possibilities but tangible realities, and where your heart is at peace, knowing that you are fully provided for. This is not just wishful thinking. This is your destiny. The financial transformation that is coming to you is not an ordinary change. It is not just an increase in your paycheck, a sudden promotion, or a lucky break. This is a divine shift. The windows of heaven are opening, and God is preparing to pour out blessings so great that you will not have room to contain them. This is not wealth that comes through struggle or mere human effort. This is supernatural provision, flowing effortlessly into your life beyond anything you have ever imagined. What this abundance looks like in your life: a financial overflow. The days of living paycheck to paycheck are over. You will have more than enough to provide for yourself, more than enough to bless others, and more than enough to live without financial worry. Opportunities knocking at your door. The right doors will open for you at the right time. You won't have to force success. It will come to you naturally. The right career moves, the best investments, and the most profitable ventures will align in your favor. Divine connections. God will place people in your life who will help you rise higher. Mentors, business partners, and influential individuals will be drawn to you, guiding you toward greater wealth and success. An elevated lifestyle. No more settling for less than you deserve. You will live in abundance, comfort, and joy. Your home, your environment, and your experiences will reflect the blessings God has poured into your life. And here is the most powerful truth. When God blesses you, it is not temporary. This wealth will not come and go like fleeting riches. It will be permanent, limitless, and generational. The abundance He is about to release into your life is not just for you. It is meant to bless your family, uplift your community, and leave a lasting impact for generations to come. There may have been moments when you felt forgotten, when you cried out to God wondering if He even heard you. He did. Every tear, every hardship, every rejection, none of it went unnoticed. The silent battles you fought, the sacrifices you made, and the nights you spent wondering when your breakthrough would come were never in vain. God has seen it all, and through it, He has been preparing something far greater than you could ever imagine. For too long you have been overlooked, underestimated, and dismissed. You have watched as others moved ahead while you remained stuck, wondering if your time would ever come. But the tables are turning. Those who once doubted you will soon be astonished by the heights you will reach. The people who ignored your potential will witness your rise, not because of mere luck, but because of God's divine plan unfolding in your life. God is about to silence your critics, not with words, but with undeniable success. Your journey, the struggles, the setbacks, the disappointments will become a powerful testimony of what is possible when faith aligns with divine timing. Your story will inspire many, proving that no hardship is permanent and that God's promises always come to pass. What this transformation means for you. The people who once dismissed you will now seek your wisdom and guidance. Those who mocked your struggles will admire your success. The pain, frustration, and rejection of the past will be replaced with overwhelming joy and victory. You will no longer chase after money. Money will chase after you. The financial breakthrough you are stepping into will not only transform your personal circumstances, but will also serve as a public testament to God's power. You will be a living example of what happens when faith is unshakable, when patience is unwavering, and when God's favor is upon a person's life. Your struggles were never meant to break you. They were meant to build you into the person who is now ready to receive an overflow of blessings. Get ready. Your testimony is about to change lives. Faith is the key that unlocks the doors to supernatural abundance. It is not enough to hope for prosperity. You must believe it is already yours. If you truly know that God has chosen you for wealth and success, then it is time to start acting like it. Walk in confidence, speak in faith, and live in expectation. Do not let fear hold you back. Do not allow doubt to creep in and make you question whether you are worthy of the blessings that are coming your way. You are. The only thing standing between you and your breakthrough is your belief in it. So, stop hesitating. Stop shrinking back. Declare boldly, "My time has come." God's blessings are already flowing towards you. Your only job is to receive. The resources, opportunities, and connections that will elevate you to the next level are already aligning in your favor. You do not need to chase after them anxiously. Instead, trust that they are on their way. Stop worrying about how it will happen. Trust that it will. Stop doubting whether you deserve it. You do. Stop waiting for permission. God has already given it. When you shift your mindset from scarcity to abundance, everything around you begins to change. The universe responds to what you believe and expect. If you expect struggle, struggle will come. But if you expect prosperity, if you truly believe that financial success is yours, then money, opportunities, and success will flow into your life effortlessly. Faith is not passive, it is powerful. It does not wait for evidence, it creates the evidence. When you trust fully in God's plan, you remove every barrier standing between you and your destiny. The doors are already open, the blessings are already moving. Now is the time to step forward and claim what is rightfully yours. Your millionaire transformation is already in motion. The shift has begun, and doors are opening in ways you cannot yet see. Now, your responsibility is to prepare yourself to receive the wealth that is coming. Many people pray for abundance but remain stuck in a mindset of scarcity, unknowingly blocking the very blessings they desire. You must align yourself mentally, spiritually, and practically with the overflow that is on its way. Aligning with wealth begins with a shift in mindset. Instead of seeing yourself as someone waiting for financial breakthrough, start thinking and acting like someone who already possesses abundance. Wealth is not merely a distant hope. It is something you expect, claim, and walk in daily. By envisioning yourself as financially free, living in abundance, and making an impact, you align your thoughts with the reality of prosperity. Your words play a crucial role in shaping your financial future. What you declare over your life determines what manifests. Every day, speak prosperity into existence. I am chosen for abundance. Money flows to me effortlessly. God's blessings are chasing me down. When you affirm wealth, you activate it. Speak as if it is already yours, because in the spiritual realm, it is. However, true abundance requires releasing scarcity thinking. Fear of losing money, hesitation to invest, or reluctance to take bold steps can keep you trapped in lack. Wealth is not limited, nor is God's provision ever exhausted. The more you give freely, invest wisely, and take courageous action, the more you open yourself to financial overflow. Operating with an abundance mindset invites prosperity to flow effortlessly into your life. Equally important is being ready to receive. Financial breakthroughs often come suddenly, but if you are not prepared, you may hesitate and miss them. Stay open, stay aware, and step into new opportunities without fear. The blessing you have been praying for could arrive at any moment. Be in position to embrace it. Above all, stay in faith. Even when circumstances seem uncertain, trust that God is working behind the scenes. Delays are not denials, they are divine alignments, preparing you for something greater. Patience and unwavering belief in the promise of abundance will attract the wealth you seek. What you expect is what you will receive, so expect greatness, walk boldly in faith, and claim the prosperity that is already yours. Expect wealth, expect success, expect miracles. Your financial breakthrough is not a matter of if, but when, and when it comes, you will be ready to receive it. Your millionaire destiny is waiting. Step into it with confidence. The wealth that is coming into your life is not just for personal gain, it is a divine assignment. God is not only blessing you with financial abundance, He is entrusting you with a greater purpose. This wealth is meant to flow through you, not just to you. It is a tool to create change, uplift others, and leave a legacy that extends far beyond your lifetime. Your financial breakthrough is not just about comfort and luxury, it is about impact. With this wealth, you will have the ability to help those in need, to be a source of provision for those who are struggling. You will be able to support causes that matter, investing in ministries, charities, and initiatives that bring light and hope into the world. You will create opportunities for others, opening doors for those who never had the resources or the guidance to reach their potential. And above all, you will leave a lasting legacy, one that will inspire and bless generations to come. This is bigger than money. It is about stepping fully into your divine calling. The wealth you receive is not just about what you can acquire, but about what you can give, build, and transform. True prosperity is not measured by how much you keep, but by how much you are able to bless others. So as you prepare for the financial overflow that is coming, remember the purpose behind it. You are not just being elevated, you are being positioned to elevate others. Walk boldly in this new season, knowing that your abundance is a divine tool to make a lasting difference in the world. Chosen one, your life is about to change forever. The struggle is ending. The breakthrough is here. The wealth is flowing. You are stepping into a life of abundance, power, and supernatural provision. Do not fear it. Do not resist it. Do not delay it. Receive it. Walk in it. Own it. This is your season of overflow. The world is about to see what happens when a chosen one steps into their divine destiny. Your journey is just beginning, and the best is yet to come. Subscribe now and turn on notifications so you never miss these life-changing messages. Together, we will continue unveiling the deeper truths that God has for His chosen ones. May His guidance, favor, and wisdom be with you always. You were never meant to blend in. You were meant to rise. Chosen ones, hear me. What I am about to share with you is not just another message. This is a divine revelation, a word you cannot afford to ignore. If you are here right now, it is not by coincidence. God Himself has led you to this moment because He knows this message is meant for you. Everything I am about to tell you is not my own wisdom. It is a divine instruction from the Almighty. The Word of God is alive, sharper than any two-edged sword. It carries the power to break chains, open doors, and lead you into your destiny. So listen closely. What you are about to hear has the power to transform your life forever. The Word of God is not just ink on paper. It breathes, it moves, it transforms. It is the same Word that spoke light into the darkness at the beginning of time. The same Word that healed the sick, raised the dead, and calmed the raging storms. And today, that same Word is coming to you, to breathe life into every dry place in your soul, to shatter every chain that has held you back, and to realign you with the purpose God set for you before the foundation of the world. So do not harden your heart. Do not let distractions steal this moment. Because when God speaks, mountains bow, demons tremble, and the heavens open. Right now, in this very moment, He is speaking directly to you. Will you listen? Will you receive it? I urge you, silence every distraction and open your heart. Receive this word with expectation, because when God speaks, everything changes. And today, change is coming to you. Have you ever found yourself asking, why is my life so difficult? Why does it feel like every burden is placed on my shoulders? Why am I constantly fighting battles that others seem to avoid? You look around and see people living with ease, seemingly untouched by the storms that rage around you. While others walk freely, you are carrying a weight so heavy that at times it feels unbearable. You struggle, you sacrifice, and you pour into others, yet you often feel unappreciated and unseen. You wonder why it always has to be you, the one who figures things out, the one who stands in the gap, the one who bears the weight of responsibility while others seem to drift through life without a care. Let me tell you why. Because you were chosen. You were never meant to walk an ordinary path. You were never meant to have an easy life. God has set you apart for something greater, and that greatness comes with a price. You are not just here to survive. You are here to build, to sustain, to multiply, and to establish something that will outlast you. That is why your battles are greater. That is why your storms are more intense. That is why the enemy has fought so hard to break you, because he knows the calling on your life is too powerful to be ignored. The struggles you face are not random. They are a necessary preparation. God is not punishing you. He is building you. Look at the foundation of a house. If the walls crack, they can be repaired. If the roof leaks, it can be fixed. But if the foundation is weak, the entire house will collapse. That is why your journey has been different, because you are a foundation. A family, a community, even a nation cannot stand without strong foundations, and you are one of those pillars. That is why you have endured rejection, isolation, and betrayal. That is why you have fought battles in silence while others remained oblivious. Because God is making you strong. Weak people cannot carry great responsibilities. Shallow people cannot uphold generations. Easily shaken people cannot be trusted with divine assignments. And so God has allowed you to be tested, refined, and molded into someone unshakable. When you look at the lives of those called by God, you will see the same pattern. Joseph was betrayed and thrown into a pit before he reached the palace. Moses was rejected and forced into the wilderness before he led Israel to freedom. David was hunted like a fugitive before he took his rightful place on the throne. Even Jesus himself, the Son of God, was despised, rejected, and abandoned in his darkest hour. Their struggles were not punishments, they were preparations. And your struggles are no different. The weight is heavy because the assignment is great. You are not just anyone. You are called. You are chosen. And if God has entrusted you with this burden, He has also given you the strength to carry it. Do not despise your battles. They are shaping you into the leader, the protector, the foundation that God designed you to be. Your hardship is not the end of your story. It is the preparation for something greater than you can imagine. When we think of a breadwinner, the world often defines it as someone who provides financially for their family. But in God's eyes, a true breadwinner is much more than just a provider of money and material needs. They are sustainers, multipliers, and preservers of destinies. They do not merely survive. They build, prepare, and ensure that what is entrusted to them is not only maintained but multiplied for future generations. One of the greatest biblical examples of a true breadwinner is Joseph. His story is not just about survival. It is about divine strategy, wisdom, and stewardship that saved not only a nation, but also the generations that followed. Joseph was betrayed by his own brothers, sold into slavery, falsely accused, and thrown into prison. Yet through all of this, God was shaping him, preparing him for the moment when he would rise to become a leader who would sustain millions. During the years of abundance in Egypt, Joseph did not waste what he had. He stored it, managed it wisely, and prepared for the famine that was to come. Tells us that when the famine struck, while other lands suffered in lack, Egypt had food because of Joseph's foresight and divine wisdom. He did not just think about the present, he thought generationally. He did not just provide for his family, he positioned himself to sustain entire nations. This is what separates a mere provider from a true breadwinner. A provider gives what is needed for today. A breadwinner builds so that others will not lack tomorrow. Joseph's journey teaches us 3 critical lessons about what it means to be a true breadwinner. First, preparation is key. Breadwinners do not live just for the moment. They prepare for the future. Joseph did not wait until the famine came to act. He made strategic decisions long before the crisis arrived. Second, breadwinners know how to manage resources wisely. They are not wasteful, nor are they reckless. They recognize that what they have is not just for them, but for those they are called to sustain. Third, true breadwinners multiply. Joseph did not merely ensure survival. He used wisdom and divine strategy to turn a crisis into an opportunity for abundance. His leadership did not just feed people for a season, it preserved generations. This is your calling. You are not meant to live in survival mode, constantly struggling just to get by. You are meant to thrive, multiply, and build a legacy that will impact those who come after you. Like Joseph, God has placed in you the ability to create, sustain, and expand. But with that ability comes a responsibility to steward it wisely, to manage it with diligence, and to trust that God will provide the strength and wisdom needed to fulfill your assignment. What will you do with what God has given you? Will you merely survive, or will you rise as a true breadwinner, a foundation upon which generations can stand? The choice is yours. There are moments in life when the burdens we carry feel too heavy to bear. The pressures of responsibility, the weight of expectations, and the struggles that seem unending can leave us feeling exhausted and overwhelmed. In these moments, it's easy to wonder if we have the strength to continue. We question whether we're capable of handling everything that life throws our way. The nights feel longer, the days feel harder, and the hope that once burned brightly seems to flicker. But even in the heaviest moments, we are not alone. Throughout the Bible, we see countless examples of people who carried immense burdens. Moses, tasked with leading an entire nation through the wilderness. David, pursued by enemies while clinging to God's promises. Paul, imprisoned and beaten, yet steadfast in his faith. Yet in every struggle, God provided strength. He reminded them that they were never meant to carry their burdens alone. Jesus himself extended an invitation to the weary, saying, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." This promise is not just for those in the past, it is for us today. When the weight feels unbearable, we must remember that we were never designed to carry it by ourselves. God invites us to lay our worries at his feet, to trust that he is strong enough to sustain us. This does not mean our struggles will instantly disappear, but it does mean we are held by a God who walks with us through every storm. Instead of relying on our own strength, we can lean on his. Instead of being crushed by our burdens, we can surrender them to the one who has already overcome the world. So if you find yourself weary, take heart. You are not alone, and you are not forgotten. The same God who strengthened Moses, guided David, and upheld Paul is holding you too. Lay your burdens before him and allow his peace to fill the places where fear and exhaustion once lived. The weight may be heavy, but his grace is always greater. Carrying the weight of your calling can feel overwhelming, but it is not meant to break you. It is meant to shape you. One of the first steps to walking in your calling without crumbling under its weight is to stop seeing yourself as a victim. Challenges will come, but they are not meant to destroy you. They are meant to refine you. Instead of asking, "Why me?" Зрение. Сдвиньте перспективу и спросите, «Господь, как я должен распоряжаться этим хорошо?» Every difficulty is an opportunity for growth, and every hardship is shaping you into the person God has called you to be. Another key to sustaining your calling is understanding that you cannot pour from an empty cup. Even Jesus, who carried the greatest mission of all, regularly withdrew to pray. Taking time to recharge is not a sign of weakness, it is wisdom. When you prioritize your spiritual and emotional well-being, you are better equipped to fulfill your calling with endurance and joy. Beyond thinking about today, you must also think generationally. Proverbs 13:22 reminds us that a good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. Your calling is not just about you, it is about those who will come after you. What you build today will impact future generations. Whether through your faith, your obedience, or the legacy you leave, your calling is part of a much bigger picture. Keeping this perspective will help you persevere when challenges arise. At times, you will be misunderstood. This is a reality that even great biblical leaders faced. Joseph was despised by his own brothers. David's family doubted his ability. Jesus himself was rejected in his hometown. Not everyone will understand your calling, and that is okay. You do not need validation from everyone, only faithfulness to the one who called you. Above all, remember that God is your ultimate source. You are not the one who sustains your calling. He is. Philippians 4:19 assures us that God will supply all your needs according to his riches and glory. You do not have to carry this weight alone. Surrender your burdens, trust in his provision, and walk forward with confidence, knowing that he who called you is faithful to sustain you. Heavenly Father, I come before you today, lifting up every person listening to this message, every man, every woman who carries the weight of provision for their family. Lord, you see their struggles, their silent prayers, and the burdens they carry. Many are weary, many feel overwhelmed, but you are their strength, their refuge, and their provider. Right now, in the mighty name of Jesus, I declare a breakthrough over their lives. Father, I pray that every chain of struggle be broken. Let every spirit of heaviness be lifted, and every financial burden be overturned. You are Jehovah Jireh, our provider, and I trust that you are already making a way where there seems to be no way. No attack of the enemy will prosper against them, for you are their shield and defender. Strengthen them, Lord, not just physically but emotionally and spiritually. Fill their hearts with peace and their minds with clarity. Let them know that they are not alone in this journey. Pour out supernatural provision, divine favor, and unexpected blessings over their lives. Open doors of opportunity, multiply the work of their hands, and guide them in wisdom as they steward their resources. Let them walk in victory, prosperity, and the fullness of their divine purpose. May they never forget that they are not just providing for their families. They are laying a foundation of faith, perseverance, and legacy. And Lord, I thank you for them. Thank you for their sacrifices, their love, and their dedication. May they feel seen, valued, and appreciated, not just by their families, but by you, the one who rewards those who trust in you. I declare over them today, they are chosen, they are covered, they are victorious. In Jesus' mighty name, Amen. If this word spoke to you, let's subscribe, share, and sow into this mission, because you are not just a breadwinner, you are a history maker. God bless you. What if the suffering you endured wasn't random, but calculated? What if every betrayal, every humiliation, every unthinkable cruelty was not just a string of misfortunes, but a cosmic test? A trial designed to break you down before molding you into someone the world could never ignore. Here's a chilling truth. History's greatest icons, revolutionaries, inventors, visionaries, share a common thread. Their journeys did not begin in privilege or ease. No, they began in torment. Nikola Tesla was ridiculed and ostracized for his genius. Harriet Tubman was hunted like an animal, her very existence a threat to the status quo. Van Gogh died penniless, mocked, and unappreciated, only for the world to later worship the very works he created in agony. Greatness, it seems, demands a blood sacrifice, not one you willingly offer, but one imposed upon you, unjust, merciless, and, to be brutally honest, sick beyond belief. Let's not romanticize what was done to you. It wasn't poetic, it wasn't noble, it was vile. The kind of cruelty that makes you question everything, your worth, your future, even your sanity. They tried to erase you before you even knew who you were. That's not just injustice, it's madness. And yet here you are, scarred but breathing, broken but unbowed, maybe even quietly laughing, because in their twisted attempts to destroy you, they handed you the one thing they feared most, a story that will make you unstoppable. So let's talk about it. If you've been wondering whether all the suffering means something, here's the truth. They didn't try so hard to break you for nothing. To be chosen sounds like a gift, something extraordinary, a destiny wrapped in glory and admiration. But the reality is far from glamorous. It is a path of isolation, pain, and relentless trials that few will ever understand. It is a paradox. You are set apart, yet cast aside. You are destined for greatness, yet forced to endure suffering so deep it makes you question why you were chosen at all. People see strength in you now. They admire your resilience, your ability to rise despite everything. But they don't see what it cost you. They don't see the nights you spent staring at the ceiling, hollow from exhaustion and betrayal. They don't hear the whispers of self-doubt that tried to convince you to give up. They don't feel the weight of the scars, both visible and invisible, that you carry every single day. Being chosen doesn't mean being the strongest. It means surviving when everything around you is designed to break you. It means enduring when the world gives you every reason to surrender. It is not a reward. It is a test, and it's a lonely one. Even those closest to you may not understand why your path is so much harder than theirs. They may call you unlucky, dramatic, or even cursed. They may wonder why suffering seems to follow you so relentlessly. But deep down, you know the truth. There is something different about you. Your trials are too specific, too calculated, as if the universe itself has singled you out for something far greater than the life you are living now. This is where the paradox deepens. On one hand, you feel an overwhelming sense of purpose, a pull toward something extraordinary. On the other, you are constantly being torn apart, pushed to your absolute limit, left to question if you will ever make it through. But what if this isn't punishment? What if it's preparation? What if the fire isn't meant to destroy you, but to refine you? Because here's the cruelest truth. This is all leading somewhere. The suffering, the betrayals, the endless battles, they are not random. They are shaping you, molding you into someone who cannot be ignored, someone who cannot be broken. But there's only one requirement. You have to survive long enough to see it. Not all battles leave visible scars. Some wars are waged in silence, on your mind, your spirit, and your very sense of self. And those are the deadliest ones. What was done to you wasn't just a series of unfortunate events. It was a deliberate attempt to hollow you out, to make you doubt your worth, to break you in ways that left no evidence behind. There were no weapons, no battlefields, no physical wounds to show the world. But the damage, it was real. And in many ways, it was worse. They didn't need to destroy you physically. They wanted something far more insidious, to make you believe you were already defeated, to convince you that you were small, powerless, unworthy of rising above the pain. Every betrayal, every cruel word, every manipulation was a calculated strike against your identity. And the worst part? For a time, it worked. You questioned yourself. You overanalyzed every action, wondering if maybe, just maybe, it was all your fault. You carried guilt that was never yours to bear. You tried to be better, to shrink yourself, to fit into a mold that made others more comfortable. And yet, no matter how much you bent, it was never enough. Because the truth is, it was never about you. It was about control. The cruelty of this kind of warfare is that it goes unseen by the world. No one could see the battles raging inside you. To outsiders, you looked fine. You smiled. You carried on. You did what needed to be done. And in return, people called you strong, as if that was a compliment, as if they understood the price of your survival. But here's what they didn't count on. Even in an invisible war, you were stronger than they ever knew. Because despite everything, despite the weight of what was done to you, you are still here, breathing, fighting, refusing to be erased. And that alone proves one undeniable truth. They never really won. Much of what was done to you, the betrayals, the manipulation, the cruelty, wasn't random. It was driven by something dark, something people rarely admit to. Envy. Envy is a quiet sickness, one that hides behind smiles, fake encouragement, and seemingly innocent criticism. It disguises itself as concern, as advice, as harmless jokes, but beneath it all, it is a slow-burning desire to see you fail. Those who hurt you didn't do so without reason. They saw something in you, something they lacked but desperately wanted. Maybe it was your strength, your light, your ability to endure. Maybe it was your dreams, your potential, the way you refused to settle for an ordinary life. Whatever it was, it made them feel small in comparison. And instead of rising to meet their own potential, they chose the easier path, trying to destroy yours. But envy is rarely obvious. It whispers in the form of criticism. You're not good enough. It sabotages you through doubt. You'll never make it. It pretends to protect you. I just don't want you to get hurt. But none of it was ever about helping you. It was about keeping you small, keeping you from becoming the proof of what they could have been if they had dared to rise. And the most twisted part? How personal it felt. Their attacks weren't just about what you did. They were about who you are. They wanted to make you question yourself, to second-guess your abilities, to dim your light so they could feel comfortable in their own darkness. And for a while, maybe they succeeded. Maybe you did shrink yourself, silence your voice, hold back your dreams just to avoid making them uncomfortable. But here's the irony. Envy is self-destructive. While they wasted their energy trying to break you, you were forced to become stronger. While they were consumed by bitterness, you were growing, adapting, becoming someone they could never touch. They thought they were stopping you, but in reality, they were only refining you. Because the truth is, they never hated you. They hated themselves for not having what you had. And the more you rise, the more their sickness will eat away at them. But that is not your burden to carry. Your only responsibility is to keep going, to keep shining, keep rising, and prove, once and for all, that no amount of envy could ever destroy someone who was born to stand out. The universe does not hand out extraordinary roles to just anyone. Those who are destined for something greater must first be tested, broken down, stripped of everything familiar, and forced to face the deepest parts of themselves. These trials are not random. They are deliberate, designed to forge you into someone unbreakable. But let's be honest, there is nothing romantic about suffering. It is brutal, it is exhausting, and it often feels utterly unjustified. You didn't ask for this path, you didn't volunteer to be tested, and yet, time and time again, life has thrown you into the fire, demanding that you rise from the ashes with nothing but your own will to survive. This is not a punishment, it is preparation. Think of a blacksmith forging a sword. The metal must be subjected to intense heat, hammered relentlessly, and reshaped over and over again before it becomes something powerful. If the process were easy, the blade would be weak. If the fire were not hot enough, the metal would remain brittle. In the same way, the trials you endure are not meant to destroy you, but to strip away everything that is not truly you. Because here's the truth. Extraordinary strength is not given, it is earned. And the price of that strength is pain. These trials force you to confront the rawest version of yourself. Who are you when everything is taken away? What do you stand for when there is nothing left to hold on to? These are the questions the universe demands answers to before allowing you to step into the power that has always been meant for you. But the hardest part? Not everyone makes it through. Some get lost in the suffering, unable to see beyond the pain. Some give in to bitterness, resentment, or despair. The difference between those who remain trapped and those who rise is not luck. It is choice. The choice to keep going, to find meaning even in the darkest moments, to believe that there is something waiting on the other side of the fire. And if you are still standing, still fighting, then you are proving yourself worthy. Not to anyone else, but to yourself. Because one day, when the weight of these trials finally makes sense, you will see that every hardship, every heartbreak, every battle was shaping you for something greater than you could have ever imagined. One of the most insidious ways the world tries to keep you small is by making you doubt your own power. It starts early, often from those closest to you: family, friends, teachers, people who should encourage you, but instead make you question your potential. They tell you to be humble, to be realistic, to not aim too high. But their warnings aren't about protecting you. They are about controlling you. The world does not like those who cannot be controlled. It rewards conformity, praises those who fit neatly into the system, and punishes anyone who dares to rise above it. The moment you begin to shine too brightly, the moment you start to believe in yourself, the system moves swiftly to put you back in your place. You are told that you are arrogant for dreaming big, difficult for refusing to settle, delusional for believing you are meant for something greater. And the most dangerous part? Over time, you start to believe it. This is how they gaslight your greatness. They convince you that your dreams are impossible, not because they are, but because the idea of you achieving them threatens their entire worldview. If you succeed, then what excuse do they have for not trying? If you break free, then what does that say about those who chose to remain in their cages? Rather than face those uncomfortable truths, they make you doubt yourself. And it works, until you finally see through the lie. Because here's the truth. The world does not gaslight what isn't a threat. If you were truly insignificant, they wouldn't work so hard to convince you that you are. If your potential didn't matter, they wouldn't feel the need to suppress it. The very fact that they try to make you doubt yourself is proof of how powerful you really are. And the moment you recognize this, the moment you stop shrinking yourself to make others comfortable, is the moment you become unstoppable. So the question is, will you continue to believe the lies they've told you? Or will you finally embrace the power they've been trying so hard to make you forget? What you endured wasn't just cruelty. It was an attack on your very humanity. It wasn't enough for them to hurt you. They wanted to make you feel less than human. They wanted to strip away your dignity, your identity, your very sense of self. This wasn't just about pain. It was about erasure. Dehumanization doesn't always come in obvious forms. Sometimes it's in the way they dismissed your pain, treated your suffering as insignificant, made you feel invisible. It's in the way they acted as if your voice didn't matter, as if your feelings were an inconvenience. It's in the way they conditioned you to believe that you deserved less, that you weren't worthy of love, respect, or even basic kindness. Over time, this treatment seeps into your mind. You start to see yourself the way they wanted you to, small, powerless, unworthy. You begin to question your own worth, wondering if maybe they were right. That is the sickness of dehumanization. It is not just about making you suffer. It is about making you believe you deserve to suffer. But here's what they never understood. Dehumanization only works if you let it. They could take away your comfort, your security, even your hope for a time. But they could never fully erase what makes you you. Because no matter how much they tried to break you, there was always a part of you that refused to be destroyed. Rising from this kind of darkness is not easy. Healing doesn't happen overnight, but every step you take toward reclaiming your humanity is an act of defiance. It is proof that even the worst attempts to destroy someone can fail. They tried to erase you, but you are still here. And that is more powerful than anything they could have ever imagined. The people who tried to break you never expected you to rise. They threw everything at you. Manipulation, cruelty, isolation, believing it would be enough to shatter you. And for a time, maybe it worked. Maybe you fell. Maybe you doubted yourself. Maybe you even thought about giving up. But then, against all odds, you got back up. And that is what terrifies them the most. They can't understand how you're still standing, still fighting, still moving forward when they would have crumbled under the same weight. Your resilience exposes something they don't want to face, their own weakness. They needed to break you because deep down, they knew they could never endure what you have. And now, as they watch you rise, they are left with only one emotion: fear. Because your very existence proves them wrong. You were never weak. You were never meant to stay broken. And no matter how much they wanted to write your ending, they failed. You are still here. And that is your greatest victory. Thank you for being part of this journey. If these words resonated with you, if you feel the strength that has always been within you, I invite you to subscribe to this channel. Here we rise together. Here we turn pain into power. Let's keep going, because the world hasn't seen the best of you yet.